Solo then.
Yeah, it'll probably look a lot better without me in it anyways, right?
No, you're a handsome fellow. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Cole, there are two existential crises headed right for college football. I want to know which one is the bigger deal from you and from the Tolos who text into the show, 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. A lot going on the show today. We'll get back to that topic here in just a moment. But, Cole, you've got something coming up next. 5 big games this fall that could turn into big-time rivalries. We're going to talk cut-the-grass sports. We've got Ramon Robinson, founder of the Elite Quarterback Academy in Greenville, coming up on the show at 4 o'clock.
How was that again?
Ramon. Is it Ramon or is it just Ramon?
I've never heard of that. And I'm sure he's never heard that before either. But,
hey,
whatever floats your boat.
Don't tell me I don't have culture, Cole, when I can roll my R's in such a way.
You might be in the wrong culture there.
And don't forget, coming up at 5 o'clock, we have what we do every single day, the 5 o'clock fight. But, Cole, there are two big issues facing college football in the very near future. Both of them are being voted on by the NCAA. Both of them could be coming at us very quickly. And I want to know from you and from the Tolos, again, 71307, or on the stream on Facebook, on Twitter, or on YouTube, which one of these do you think poses the biggest risk? Both of these, they are a little bit scary depending on your perspective, depending on what size of school you are a fan of. These could pose an existential crisis to who you are and what you do and how you do you do. So here we go, Cole. Number one, we're looking at unlimited coaching staffs. That's the number of coaches who can have on-field interactions with the players. As of right now, it's just 11 coaches in college football, 2 grad assistants on either side of the ball. And I believe in FCS you get 12 on-the-field coaches, but 11 coaches as of right now, plus 4 assistants, 2 on offense, 2 on defense. They are looking at a rule change, and the common knowledge or the common belief is this one will absolutely pass. This will allow coaching staffs to balloon to whatever size they want, right? If you're Alabama or if you're Clemson or you're Penn State and you can afford to pay 100 coaches to be out there on the field, guess what? You can do it if that's how you choose to spend the money that you have. The other issue facing college football, Cole, will be not a scholarship. They're not calling it a scholarship reduction. They're calling it a roster limit that will actually shrink the size of some of these rosters in college football. So that's going to be a big issue on the horizon as well. And we're going to go through some of the possible questions and pitfalls of both of these. And I want to know from you, the Tolos, which is the bigger threat. So let's start right now with unlimited coaching staffs. The NCAA will vote on whether to allow analysts or quality control coaches. You got a lot of those all over the place, right? It's kind of the big thing. If you fail at a Indiana or an Iowa or wherever, you can now go be an assistant on, well, it used to be Nick Saban's staff. That's how you rehabbed your image in this business, right? Yeah. You would go be an assistant, an off-the-field analyst for Alabama football or Georgia football or wherever, and you could kind of rehab your image and maybe get yourself another job on the field wearing the headset down the line. So I wonder, Cole, is this any different from what we've got right now? Because I've heard from some coaches and some former coaches in this game who have said these off-the-field analysts, they deal with the players all the time. Like, they are essentially admitting to cheating.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have contact with the players when it comes to instruction. You are able to essentially sit back, theorize, ponder, write stuff down, and then you got to take your hands off the wheel and let one of those 11 coaches implement it with the players.
I find it very hard to believe that analysts right now are not partaking in any sort of involvement with players as it is. So when I hear this new rule possibly on voting whether to allow analysts and quality control coaches to give instruction during practices, to me, it's not going to make that big of a difference, man. I've been to college practices, Diesel. There are a million coaches already giving instruction. There are a million coaches already yelling. What is one more coach yelling at a player going to do. The head coach, the offensive coordinators, the defensive coordinators, they're the coaches anyways. These analysts, yeah, they may see something on film, but not a big deal for me here.
Well, basically, this is, legalizing something that coaches are admitting is already going on, is impermissible contact. That's not the ruling on it, but that's essentially what it is. Cole, what that will allow to happen, though, is a more compartmentalized and specialized level of instruction. If you've got an analyst, his only job can be, I'm going to work on their footwork exclusively, or I'm going to work on their handwork if you're talking about a lineman or something like that, or their blocking ability or this or that. So they can now compartmentalize and receive instruction from as many coaches as the school chooses to employ, and where this could become a problem. Now you're saying, well, doesn't that sound good? Like, couldn't we get more and better instruction with these athletes? Couldn't they? Couldn't we have coaches who only focus on one thing, and they can get really, really good at teaching that one thing, and that would make the student athletes better, right? It would make the players better. What the potential this has to become an issue, Cole, is if you start to see more and more coaches take the Kane Womack avenue, take the Sean Elliott avenue, is these are former head coaches who didn't quit or didn't get fired because they couldn't win. They chose to leave their job as a head coach to go be on staff somewhere else. And some of them like Sean Elliott are getting position coach jobs. He will have access to the players. That is part of his job.
Yeah.
But there are those guys who don't go get a position coach job and they go take a job as an analyst. I'm thinking it was Bowden. Which one is it? Tommy Bowden? No, Terry Bowden. Terry Bowden. He was at, I believe, Akron or something like that.
And I think
took a job on Nick Saban's staff.
And I think of like a Bobby Bentley as well, who was at South Carolina and has taken some analyst roles as well.
So you're talking about the ability for big programs with huge budgets to be able to just soak up more and more and more of that top level talent because, well, they got a ton of money. They can pay these guys whatever they want. Could this become a big problem, Cole? What's to stop, for example, Georgia, that's got more money than Fort Knox, from offering Clay Helton, a former Power 5 head coach who's now at Georgia Southern, the same amount of money that he's making at Georgia Southern, to say, hey, guess what, Clay? You don't have to be a head coach anymore. You don't have to deal with the transfer portal. You don't have to deal with NIL. You don't have to deal with all this stuff. Just come and be a coach, for us, an analyst for us. You can only coach. I don't know Clay Helton's background, what position group he came from originally in his coaching tenure. But just come and do that. Just only focus on that. We can pay you the same amount of money that you were making at Georgia Southern. And there is a former Power 5 head coach who coached at Southern Cal who is now being soaked up by the Georgia machine, right? And he is not on staff at a Georgia Southern. He is not on staff at a Indiana or something like that. He wouldn't go to that smaller school, not the power brokers, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I just wonder how much value there is at that position for a coach's, from a coach's standpoint. When you look at what is my impact going to be, and listen, the new era, the new landscape of college football. I get that there's a lot of guys who would rather not be a head coach, but I guess my question to that position would be, when you go to an analyst role, what are the benefits? How much of an impact are you actually making? Yeah, there's limited contact between you and the players. And this is a good question for somebody who's been that before. Do you feel like you're actually making a difference, or are you just a guy that they lean on? Because the reality of it is, if you're not involved in the day-to-day practices, if you're not involved in the implementation of game plans, what are you doing besides watching film and sending notes to the other staff?
Now they can be. That's the whole point of this rule change. It would allow them to be. But you brought up a segue to my point perfectly. You know what? I don't know if we're mind melding at this point as we're on show number 66 together, Cole. But young coaches will always have an ambition, right? They all want to move up. They all want to take on the new challenge, especially those that are coming up in this era who all they know as a coach is the NIL and transfer portal era. They are learning in this system instead of saying, well, I remember when we used to do it this way and now I don't like this. So there will always be those guys who are not happy being a $500,000 paid analyst for Georgia, who will say, I want to go be a head coach somewhere. And so that's what they'll have to do, is go take those smaller jobs at smaller institutions. And guess what? I mean, there will always be those guys wanting to fill those positions, even as low as Georgia State got under Sean Elliott. And I'm not saying it's Sean Elliott's fault. That is a very, very difficult place to go and win. Guess what? They had a whole bunch of applications.
You talking about Georgia State?
Georgia State, yeah. They had a whole bunch of applications. Everywhere that's ever fired a coach because he sucked hired somebody new.
Well, you know how people are.
Somebody wants that job.
And half of those people who want the job aren't even qualified, but they believe they're qualified to be a head coach. It happens all the time.
That's
college, pro, high school, people apply and have no qualifications. But, there's going to be a lot of people who apply, but how many people are actually qualified? Listen, before we move on, I love the move that Sean Elliott made. I understand it. From his point, he's been at South Carolina before. There's a lot of familiarity with Sean Elliott, South Carolina, the recruiting trail, the roots there. And I believe that when he was at Georgia State, he did a good job, right? As good as a job as you can do there. But the problem is, what is the ceiling at Georgia State versus what you feel like you can accomplish and build on at South Carolina? And I think for me, that's probably where Sean made the decision.
Hey, he plays his cards right. He could be a legitimate candidate for the head coaching job at South Carolina a few years down the line. You just never know. So on the other side of this debate, Cole, the second big crisis that could be coming to college football, the NCAA is looking at eliminating the 85 scholarship limit in favor of a roster cap that could see, Cole, rosters capped at 85 to 90 guys. Why is this significant? Well, right now, you get your 85 scholarships, and you can have, I think, up to another 20 guys or so on the roster. I mean, Dabo Swinney talks all the time in his post-game press conferences. Guess what? We got 102 guys into the game today. Well, how'd you get 102 guys into the game? You only have 85 on scholarship. Camps, though, Cole, would still be allowed to start with 130 guys, but they'd have to reduce that by possibly 40 before play starts. And where that becomes an issue, Cole, is that, number one, coaches could start to prioritize scholarship guys over walk-ons in a way that we haven't seen implemented before. Mm-hmm. And number two, that's potentially 40 scholarship athletes, Cole, who can't have anything to do with the program, right? They can't transfer if they get cut in camp.
So there are less people seeing the field?
Possibly, yeah. They could get cut in camp and then not have anywhere to go because the transfer portal window doesn't open up again till December, right? So now you've got 4 or 5 months, 6 months possibly, being somewhere at a school that you don't want to be, that doesn't even have you on the roster.
Yeah.
And so now you got to wait a couple of months, and then you got to transfer to another school and kind of start over on another roster. I think it's going to create a whole new extra bad part of the transfer portal where you got guys who are getting disgruntled because it's like, hey, I got brought onto campus and I started camp with a scholarship, and then I got cut. What am I going to do now?
It's a fair point. I understand it, and so I'm just thinking back to your original question. If you're asking us to choose which could be a bigger threat, mm-hmm. I could be wrong, but I want to say neither of them are going to be a massive threat. Okay. I hope I'm right there because you don't want to see either one of those actually impact the game, right? But if I had to pick, I'd say probably the latter.
Hey, I've been in the camp for a long time, Cole, in favor of scholarship reduction from 85 to 75. Spread those guys out. That's 130. That's 1,100 guys who wouldn't be on scholarship and wouldn't be on roster somewhere in the FBS. That would then trickle down to the FCS. Mm-hmm. See, I'm a big fan of spreading the wealth and spreading this talent out because you've seen it before. You've seen 3 and 4 star guys who are not even on scholarship at Alabama. They're preferred walk-ons. They're elite football players. They're never going to see the field. I would love to see those guys trickle down. So if you're not at Alabama, boom, you're going to Mississippi State. And if you can't be on the roster at Mississippi State because you're one of the bottom 10 guys, guess what? You're going to Southern Miss. And if you can't be at Southern Miss, guess what? You're trickling on down to the FCS level. So I've been in favor of that for a very, very long time. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of coaches, the elite best of the best coaches, who fancy themselves head coaches or high-level coordinators, even at the group of 5 level or the FCS level, saying, guess what? I want to go be buried in some back room in Tuscaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that one's going to be a big issue. There are going to be some of those guys, right, who will choose to go be an analyst and go make decent money at a bigger school and choose that stability over the instability of being a head coach. But ultimately, I don't see that one as being the bigger threat. I think the bigger threat is going to be the scholarship, the roster cap, which means those 20, 25 guys on each roster who are not on scholarship, they got to go find somewhere else.
71307 is the way you can get in touch with us. We are live at Ingles over in Powdersville, Anderson, Piedmont. Who really knows, right? But I'll tell you the address, 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. This is one of the best Ingles. They're all fantastic, but this one's fantastic as well. Let us know your thoughts on that first subject, that first topic. 71307. Again, start the text with the word fan. Phone lines are open as well, 844-FAN-PHONE. Again, going back to kind of put a bow on it from my perspective, I think the more fascinating one is the analyst role, the coaches, what could be a new rule. I think that's the one that's more fascinating in terms of them actually be able to give instruction at practice. It's just hard for me to imagine, and tell me if you agree or disagree, it's hard for me to imagine that an analyst giving instruction or assistant at practice during the week is going to make that big of an impact. I could be wrong. I just don't think it will.
Well, here's what I know is going to happen. NCAA will pass one of these, but not the other. So they will allow as many analysts to be on the field coaching as they can, and they will also vote down the reduction in roster size. So you'll be able to get as many coaches as you want on the field. You'll be able to have as many players on the roster as you want to. You know, that's what benefits the consortium. That's what benefits, the mafia that is the Power Five.
Sure.
They'll get their way, and that's what's going to happen.
All right, coming up in the very next segment, I want to hear from you, the Tolos. Diesel and I are going to give you 5 games this fall. Yeah, we teased it on the promo. We were going to get to it yesterday, but we're going to get to it now. 5 games this fall that could turn into rivalries. Tell us what you think. Again, text line, phone lines are both open. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And reminder, we are live at Ingles 10903 Anderson Road, and I'll have a clue for you in the very next segment of how you can win a $25 Ingles gift card. All right, it's time to give you a clue. I love clues, except I'm terrible at guessing the clues. However, it's your turn to drive over here. If you're in the area, come by Ingles, say hello, but also enter in for a chance to win a $25 Ingles gift card. We are at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. The first clue. These are going to be, wait a minute. I'm being told that, wait a minute, stop the press. I almost read it. Are we not allowed to give that clue out? What's happening right now? Is this live television?
In the clue?
Dead giveaway? It's in my text message, but, okay, I think I've got the right one now. New clues. You were close there. Good job to Evan and our team over here. We almost had a little incident there. I might have said the actual clue as well. All right, let's try that again. First clue for your chance to win a $25 gift card if you can guess the product. Clue number 1. If you ate just one of these, it would be very tiny. That is clue number 1. If you ate just one, it would be very tiny. And no, it's not a blue pill, not a blue chew. Just to get that out of the way.
I was going to make a joke about your manhood.
Well, I figured you were going to make a blue chew or a blue pill reference, so I said let's go ahead and eliminate that one.
I'm 40, Cole. I'm not old enough for that yet.
So clue number 1 again. If you eat just one, it's very tiny. We'll continue to give you one clue per hour so that you can come into this Ingles where we are. Diesel and I, we're here, and you can guess the product. We'd love for you to give your best crack at it. You can also text 71307. Start your text with the word fan. You can try to guess on the text line for funsies if you can't make it in, but it doesn't mean anything. All right, Diesel. 5 games this fall that could potentially turn into rivalries. I want to go game by game here, and let's get our critical hats on. Put your critical hat on, and get ready to tell me if you think this is maybe a potential rivalry.
So these are 5 games that are not already rivalries. We get new rivalries?
Yes, that's what we do on this show. We create new content, new rivalries. That's right. Not existing rivalries. So I'm all for new rivalries, right?
I love them.
I do too. First one, October the 5th, Diesel. What does this one do for you? The Michigan Wolverines, defending national champions, versus the Washington Huskies. Both teams have been in the playoffs as of late. Wait a minute, I sense some hesitation there. I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad It sounds bad to me.
Yeah, I don't see this as being a right. What, just because you turn an M upside down and it looks like a W? Is that what we're talking? Are those the thinly veiled things that we're basing rivalries on in 2024?
No, I think it has more to do with, last season's college football playoff national championship was that Michigan and Washington would meet again on the field this fall. What we didn't know then was that both programs would enter the rematch with a wildly different look on the field, especially on the sideline, right? With both coaches, Diesel. Jim Harbaugh's exit to the NFL, paired with the departure of 13 draft picks from Michigan from that national championship team. It's a lot to replace. However, there are plenty of familiar faces to set up, those Maize and Blues. Sharon Moore, who I've been high on, he's going to be a good coach in my opinion. And then the same thing for Washington. Transition a little jarring there as well. Hard NFL draft exits, expired eligibility for their 6th-year seniors. And, by the way, Kalen DeBoer left to take the Alabama job. New coach, Jed Fish. Did anybody know who the actual new coach at Washington was? Jed Fish. Brings a ton of momentum. Quick turnaround for him in Arizona. But the Washington side of things, Diesel, is more removed from where the Huskies were when they played for it all last January. So, again, as far as the game itself, arguably one of the bigger games in Husky Stadium this fall, but these two teams are going to look vastly different.
Yeah, this is what they were hoping for with conference realignment, right, was to put more of the biggest programs in the same conferences together so that they could consolidate and turn all of these into conference games. I do wonder, Cole, could it be a big deal this year? Sure. Yeah, I think it will. It'll be sold out. But, I mean, what does that really mean necessarily, that a sold-out game is an instant rivalry?
No.
No, I don't think so. And I'm thinking like 5, 6, 10 years down the line. I mean, if we're all under the auspices that these conferences will stick together in their current form for another decade, I totally see this as just being another ho-hum game.
Just a blip.
It's a couple thousand miles apart. Yeah, sure, these two teams are pretty good, but I mean, we've seen cross-divisional games in the SEC that are 1,000 miles apart, and they don't have a whole lot of heat to them. So, I don't think this one will either.
So a big fat no from Diesel.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Diesel
the pattern
says
is empty.
Negative.
Yeah.
All right, well, you shot the first one down. Let's try again. How about this one? November 23rd, Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama, Kalen DeBoer versus Brent Venables and the Sooners of Oklahoma, both in the same conference, right? This pair of crimson-colored powers have combined for how many? 25 national championships, 84 conference titles, Diesel in their respective histories, winning at both the conference and national levels in multiple decades through the 20th and 21st centuries. Yet, listen to this, they've only played 6 times ever. Ever. Is that not wild? And only twice in the regular season, 2003 and 2004. You talk about two of the most consistent programs over time, Diesel. Their most recent meeting was in the Orange Bowl semifinal in 2018, a game that featured Tua and Kyler Murray, 45-34 Alabama win. Two blue bloods in the sport. I would agree with you on the last one, with Michigan and Washington not really being a potential rivalry, but I'm more open to this one.
Well, in my mind, Cole, I said, these two programs, these two towns, Tuscaloosa and Norman, are like a hop, skip, and jump from each other. So I had to Google it, see how far apart they actually are.
Let me guess without looking. I'm not looking at your computer. From Tuscaloosa to Norman?
Yep. You want to guess mileage or hours?
I'm going to guess hours. I'm going to guess
driving hours.
6 hours and 40 minutes.
Ooh, man, you'd have a whole lot longer to go. 10 hours and 40 minutes.
You're kidding me.
That's almost an 11-hour drive.
Is it on the other side of Oklahoma or something? Good night.
No, I think it's because you have to get out of your car in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and you have to ride a horse through Choctaw
horse and
Nation.
buggy. Yeah.
Because you got to go through an Indian reserve to get there.
And that takes 3 days.
Native American reserve. And that takes 2 extra hours. So, I would have thought these two were a lot closer than that. But these are two, essentially, I know people don't consider Oklahoma and Texas to be the South. Not really. Not Southeast, at least. The traditional South. But these two states have a whole lot in common with the South. Even if you're not traditional South.
Yeah.
You have a whole lot in common. There's a lot of cultural similarities here. Two really, really rabid fan bases. I think this one has the potential, at least, to be really, really good in a couple of years.
I do too, but you know what we need?
Yeah.
And this will never happen, Diesel, but I'll tell you what we need. We need a little beef between Kalen DeBoer and Brent Venables. A little off-the-field juice.
Brent's too quiet for
He's
that,
too
though.
nice of a guy.
Yeah, he's too nice. I don't think he'll do it.
And Kalen seems like a nice guy as well.
Yeah.
That's the problem. To put a bow on this one, a win for either team could go a long way in driving the narrative, Diesel, of how the 2024 season actually went. Those kind of stakes will bring plenty of interest for two very passionate fan bases who expect conference title contention on an annual basis. The problem for Oklahoma is they're now in the SEC, and while these are two blue bloods, I would give Alabama a much more significant start because they've been in the conference for a long, long time.
Yeah, I fear if either one of those programs, Texas or Oklahoma, is going to get that welcome to football kick in the nads that was delivered in the movie Necessary Roughness, I think it's going to be Oklahoma.
Oh, man, I hope not.
I think Texas is going to be in fine shape as they come into the SEC. I'm not predicting they're going to go top 3 in their first year, but it wouldn't shock me.
Well, they beat Alabama.
It would shock me. Will they beat Alabama?
I'm saying they did. They did already.
They did, yeah.
So, I mean, they can go toe-to-toe with the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's that classic argument. When do they play them in the SEC schedule? Can they really handle an SEC schedule week in and week out? Guess what? You're not getting the Iowa States in your off weeks. You're not getting off weeks in the SEC. Even the bad teams are better than other conferences.
South Carolina,
good teams. Yeah, I mean they're just as physical. They're gonna smack you in the mouth. So I think Texas is probably better built for it, and Oklahoma may struggle.
You can play along as well. 71307. Start your text with the word fan. So the first one was Michigan versus Washington. Diesel and I both said, not really. The second one was Alabama, Oklahoma. We're talking about matchups this fall that could be potential rivalries down the road. We both were open to that one, right? Both open to it. Mm-hmm. The third one, Diesel, September 21st, Michigan again versus USC. I'm not talking about the USC in Columbia. I'm talking about the real USC in California. Unfortunately, listen, both Michigan, USC.
Why'd you quiet down? Because there's a guy over there in a Gamecock t-shirt.
Is there really?
Why'd you quiet down when you said that?
I'll yell it. You mean stand up and yell it from the table? The two programs, Diesel played a home and home in 1957, 1958, and have not played a regular season game since.
Travesty.
Is that not wild? In the scoreboard, USC holds a 6-4 edge in the series, but again, there hasn't been a meeting since a 32-18 Trojans win in the Rose Bowl in 2006, which was postseason. Mm-hmm. This will be the Big Ten opener for both teams, who will have shown their hands a little bit already given their quality early season non-conference matchups. USC opens against LSU in Vegas on the 1st of September. Mm-hmm. Michigan gets a nice visit from the Longhorns. So they'll both be tested, but this matchup, while it hasn't happened a lot, these are two blue bloods. I do like the chances of this becoming something. What about you?
Yeah, I do like this one. There's a lot of history between these two programs. Obviously, I'm going to look up and see how many times they faced each other in the Rose Bowl. But there's a lot of crossover, obviously, between the Pac-12 and the Big Ten with the Rose Bowl games. So I think this one right here, they're going to slip into the familiarity and the hate that I think this one turns really good.
And this is also the kind of matchup that the Big Ten envisioned, when it made the initial push west, which at the time included just USC and UCLA. Michigan and USC have, national appeal in college football, and now have the conference. They can host these kind of games nationally. They're both relevant. They can happen more on a frequent basis now. So in terms of the Big Ten scripting a better home opener for both teams, you're not going to find it. It's not going to happen.
I am shocked here. They've only faced each other a total of 10 times at this point, and only twice since 2004. Only 2 times in the last 20 years. You would think that this matchup would have happened more often. You would have thought that they had made a reason to schedule each other in the regular season, but maybe there's just not as much heat between these two as I thought.
Well, when you don't play each other as much, obviously it really ruins the chances of there being a rivalry. But
sure,
when we're looking at this list, in order for these to actually become rivalry games, it's going to take consistently playing each other every single year. These two teams playing each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll happen for a long, long time with conference realignment coming at May. But they're gonna have to play each other consistently.
And somebody's gonna have to say something about somebody's mama to really spark these things. I mean, you know how as well as I do that so many of these coaches, they have this media training. You got to be nice. You don't want to give them any bulletin board material.
Spurrier missed that training.
Yeah, he did not get that memo.
No.
I love the trash talking head coaches when they go after each other. Lincoln Riley, too nice for that. Sharon Moore. I mean, he's a fiery guy. He could slip up and say something that he doesn't necessarily mean, or he might mean it, but he didn't intend to say it and spark something. They'll say, I respect the program and the tradition that they've got over there, all that. But somebody's going to have to really, really get under somebody's skin.
All right, 2 left before we hit a break. Games this fall that could be potential rivalries, Diesel. Number 2. October the 19th. This is my favorite one on the list.
Yep.
Georgia versus Texas. October 19th. Are you ready? I mean, come on. Sign me up.
Yes.
I wish this was the opening game, right?
This feels like one of those games that should have been happening for years.
Yeah.
Right? That these two teams should play each other regularly. Not every year, but these two should match up at least twice every decade.
Well, what's crazy is we've only had 16 regular season meetings between these two teams since 1969, and there's a chance that's exactly what we get in Austin when Georgia and Texas go head-to-head, Diesel. And like so many of these new conference rivalries that have us excited for the upcoming season, Georgia and Texas do not carry with them a long series history.
Only 5.
That's right. Longhorns beat the Bulldogs in the Sugar Bowl at the end of the 2018 season. If you remember, Sam Ellingers were back after the win, but you have to go all the way back to the Cotton Bowl at the end of the 1983 season to find the next recent matchup between Georgia and Texas. That's wild. Sign me up for this rivalry, though. This is fantastic.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that I'm really stoked for.
Here's where what we were talking about a minute ago is true here. Two guys that do have charisma and have a little edge. Kirby Smart, and I love Steve Sarkisian. Both of them, in my opinion, could be the type that, I'm not saying trash talk, but create a little bit of a rivalry right off the field. I'm all for it.
Yeah, and of course, these are two guys that have been around this business for a long time. I don't know if they've ever actually appeared on the same coaching staff at the same time, but I guarantee you they know each other well.
Sure.
That's going to make this one a lot of fun.
The last one. Yes or no to it becoming a potential rivalry down the road. Ohio State versus Oregon on October the 12th. This is the Big Ten version of the Georgia-Texas matchup, Diesel. Initial thoughts?
This one doesn't jump off the page at me. I mean, again, it's one of those games where whoever's hosting is going to sell out, but they were going to sell out for whoever they played. This is another one of those ones that requires somebody to say something untoward about somebody's mama and insult somebody, and then this one could get off the ground in the future. But, if you're Ohio State, don't you already have enough rivals? In the sense that how much emotional capital can you demand out of your fan base, right? How much hate can you rile up and like have dripping out of these people, right? I mean, they, of course, will have their rivalries with Michigan and with Penn State and with maybe to a lesser degree Wisconsin. But outside of that, if you're asking people to build hate for another 2 or 3 weeks out of the year,
it's a lot.
That's a lot.
A lot of hate to go around.
That is a lot. I mean, look at any game that you watch. Like go picture yourself going to
Sure.
You know which games are going to be the hated games that people are the fan base are really, really going to get up for. And then the rest is just like, yeah, they show up, they do the clap, they do the woo-hoo, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. But they're not putting their heart and soul into it.
They're not hardcore is what
Right.
you're saying. So real quick recap. The top 5 games this fall that could become rivalries: Michigan versus Washington, Alabama versus Oklahoma. The third one is USC versus Michigan, Georgia versus Texas, and last but not least, Ohio State versus Oregon. Don't forget, you can get your thoughts in on the stream if you're watching live on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube.
That's right. When we come back, Cole, we're going to take a look at what I call cut the grass sports.
Oh,
now that
sports.
well, we're going to have to find reasons to like them, right? Now that college baseball is over and that the NHL is over, I want to take a look and let people know what's out there and give you something to look for over the summer, right? You're gonna need to find something to scratch that sports itch. There's nothing going on in camps or transfer portal or any of that stuff for a while. So we're gonna find something maybe that's gonna grab you over the summer. That's coming up next, right here on the Fan Upstate.
A win is a win, whether it's on the real field of competition
Cole, we are getting to the part of the calendar that's going to get real tough for guys like you and me that talk real sports, like real sports, like football, right? Football, basketball,
real sports.
Yeah. We
you're about to offend a lot of people.
it's tough this time of year, Cole, to not have a lot to dig into when it comes to sports. That's why they call it the dog days of summer. And what I think probably cutting grass is more of a sport to a lot of Southern men than soccer is.
You stole the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'd probably enjoy cutting the grass and watching a lot of these sports.
Is it weird to like really like, even when it's hot, like even when it sucks to be outside, there's just something enjoyable about being out there cutting the grass.
Man. It
right?
really is.
I mean, there are sports on during the summer that are just not really worth watching for a lot of Southern male viewers, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple that a lot of people around here like that I even would consider cut the grass sports. These are the sports, Cole, that you can turn on, watch the first little bit. No, that's different.
That's wire to wire.
That's something different. Yeah, that's wire to wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson, 3 to 7 weekdays. No, these are the sports that you can turn on. You watch the first little bit. You skip the middle part. That's when you go outside and you cut the grass and you do all the weed eating and the edging and all that stuff. And then you come back and you catch the tail end of it. Like mid-season Major League Baseball is an example of that kind of sport. You know, you may turn on and watch the first inning. And as long as you're back inside to watch the ninth, that's really all that matters. NASCAR is one of those for me. I can't sit and watch. You know, if it's a 350-mile race, I want to watch the first 15 miles. I want to watch the last 15 miles, and then want to go outside and cut the grass for the other 300.
Yeah.
Change.
No, I agree. The only two that I have listed are NASCAR and MLB baseball, Major League Baseball, other than the Braves. If it's the Braves, I'm fine. But during the summer, I have no interest in watching the Yankees and the Cubs. I mean, like I turned on the Mets-Yankees last night, tried to watch it, and I did watch probably the most of it. It's not enjoyable. It's more of a background, background sport.
But then you're not really watching. So even though you're not outside cutting the grass, mentally you're out cutting the grass.
That's right.
So I want to find out from you, Cole, and from the Tolos as well, 71307. What are those cut the grass sports for you? The ones that you're mildly interested in, but you're not going to sit and really focus on them for a long, long time. You listed yours off already, called NASCAR and Major League Baseball, other than the Braves. So you're telling me it's a beautiful summer day, 85 degrees. You're going to stay inside and watch Braves baseball?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Mid-season Braves baseball?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Well, I'm a Braves fan.
Well, I know you are, but like to me, that's one of those. Maybe we're just different. Maybe we're just wired different, right?
Yeah.
I can't sit and watch. I got to be outside doing something. But World Cup soccer, unless it's the men in the finals, which we know that doesn't happen.
Boring.
Fishing on TV, I can watch a little fishing on TV, but not much.
Yeah.
I can watch some golf. If it's not a major, I'm not gonna sit and watch the whole round. Snowboarding and skiing, and I was even a snowboarder in college. Like I can't sit and watch it all day.
They have snowboarding at Georgia Southern.
I didn't go to Georgia Southern. Thank you very much. Wait, you don't subscribe to Obscure Sports Quarterly? No?
Snowboarding, skiing, I can't watch it.
I watch 2 or 3 jumps. Well, I want to watch one guy fall and yard sail and equipment go everywhere.
It's tough, though, man.
But outside of that, I can't watch
It's tough. It's a tough time of year. It's a tough time of year for us sports fanatics. All right, coming up next, Ramon Robinson, good friend of mine, good friend of the station, founder of Elite Quarterback Academy in Greenville. He's trained a lot of names. You've heard him before, and he will join us next.
If you work a 9 to
The Fan Upstate.
It's a Wednesday, a hump day edition of Wire to Wire. He's Diesel, I'm Cole Bryson. We are live at 10903 Anderson Road and in Piedmont, rather, at the Ingles. If you're in the area, stop by, enter your clue as we're going to give you, or enter your best guest, if you will, as we're going to give you another clue for your chance to win a $25 Ingles gift card coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. But first, we bring on Ramon Robinson, founder of Elite Quarterback Academy, good friend of the station. Ramon, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, fellas. How y'all doing today?
Good, man. Always good to hear from you. It's been a while since you and I have caught up, but I want to start, Ramon, with the news that just broke a few days ago with Westside quarterback Cutter Woods switching his commitment from Wake Forest to South Carolina. The reason I bring this up, Ramon, is he's a guy that you've trained in your quarterback academy. Now, in a few years, will be competing against another guy you've trained in Lenore Sellers. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, when it came about, I looked at the whole room and, he asked me for my opinion, and I just looked at it. And I just looked at it from the point of, when you talk about the quarterback room, South Carolina, got one senior in the room, and then you have Lenore, then you have Robbie, then you have the Dante Reno kid, and I think they have a walk-on. So you looking at the situation of when Cutter becomes a senior, and when he's making that move to South Carolina, the number 2 spot is wide open. I mean, because of course nobody knows what's going to happen in that quarterback room. And then you look at the offense; they run a pro-style spread offense that's suited for his skill set, and and he's got to go in there to beat Cutter. He can't go in there being somebody else, and that's just it. And with Lenore's been a great mentor to him, and they've been knowing each other for a few years. Like I say, we all trained together, and they've trained together before, and they all came up through the QB Legacy, is the group, the quarterback fraternity group that we put together years ago. And they've all came up together, grinding together during the summer in the July hot months. And, they're not a stranger to each other. And Lenore was rooting for him the whole time once he saw that they offered it.
Ramon Robinson, founder of Elite Quarterback Academy here in Greenville. Cole brought up the list there of some of the guys that you've trained: Grayson Loftus, Trent Pierman, Kelly Bryant, Chad Kelly, Deshaun Watson. Who would you say is the most complete out of high school at the time that you were training them, complete quarterback you've had come through your camp?
Well, since we're talking about this topic, I would say, and I said this not too long ago, just in random conversations, everybody always asks this, who's the most complete quarterback? And my most complete quarterback was in my 23 class. And that's with, Lenore and Grace. And those guys been with me since the 6th grade, man. And Cutter has been with me since the 6th grade. And, when people start talking about development and the different levels of development, it all comes about with the time that you're putting in, not just with me, but also with your team and with your coach at your school. And you can see the development from those guys. And I speak on those guys because they're some of the most polished and most accurate quarterbacks that I've had come out of my camp, and I've been in it for a while, since 2011, over 100-some kids plus since then that's in college on all levels. But to say and talk about development, that's what it's all about. And I just made a post about my brother Bobby, who does receivers, who trains Maceo. A lot of people train, but can you develop what you're training is the key. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. Anybody can train. You can go to the yard and train with mom and dad, but at the end of the day, are you developing your craft at whatever position, whatever sport it is, with whomever you're training with? And that's the key. And I don't like to just train. I like to develop, and I like to see, the best of the kids and bring out the best in them and just give back my knowledge. And all those guys that we're speaking on have all, soaked up all the information from me playing, growing up through the Pop Warner ranks and going to college, to the pros and all those things. I gave them all different experiences of what it's like to be there, and then just giving them different experiences from past quarterbacks that I've had in high school that's right now in college and some that's in the pros, just giving them the pros and cons with everything. But when you're talking about complete, I would have to say that those are 3 of the top guys that I've trained, that are complete. When I say that are ready to go in and play at any university that they choose to go to.
I love that answer, Ramon. That's a good way to put it. I like that a lot. A question that I have, you and I have talked before about your relationship with high school coaches and how it benefits quarterbacks. But something that I thought about the other day with you that I find fascinating. You talk about a situation where Cutter Woods goes to South Carolina. Lenore Sellers already there, also a guy that you trained. How beneficial is it, not from the high school standpoint, but for you and your past trainees to have these relationships still at the college level? That way, when a guy like a Cutter Woods or somebody wants to go to a certain college, you already have relationships there, and they also, the players and the player that's going there already possibly knows each other.
Well, we build up. I mean, it didn't just start yesterday. It's been a long-going process for me starting my business in 2011. And I always talk about brotherhood, and I always lean on the guys that have already been there before you. And that's what it's all about. And I always share numbers with guys. I was like, don't just get my opinion about things. Get opinion from some of your brothers, your bigger brothers that are already in the midst of doing things on that level to know how it is. And they're not rejecting, any of the younger guys calling them and getting information, because they're not like that. They're not these egotistical guys where they don't want to talk to guys and thinking they're too big time and things like that. No, when we're in training, I always tell the guys, when we get together, ask the older guys what it's like. Be able to get their numbers, start that relationship. Don't just start the relationship in training. Start the relationship outside of training, calling him, just nitpicking his brain. And I'll give you an example. My quarterback, Trey Howard, who's going to be a stud. I call him the Bryce Young right now in high school football at Ridgeview High School. He called me. He was having a little rough time at a 707. This was last weekend. He just said, hey, Coach, what are some things that you would do when you're having a rough day and things like that? Well, the term I always use with quarterbacks is short-term memory. We always have to have a short-term memory. We can't be thinking about what happened before that. When, happened during that play, we got to start executing and think about what we're going to do with this play and so forth. And I say, hey, look, sometimes just don't lean on me. Reach out to some of your older guys. And he did that. And I gave him the number. And him and Lenoris already had a relationship. What do you do when you're struggling and things like that? And he gave him some little nuggets to what he do in preparing for the next play and things like that.
He's not a quarterback trainer. He is a quarterback developer, the founder of Elite Quarterback Academy here in Greenville. Ramon Robinson joining us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. So you've got a lot of different guys who've come through your system, some who are just there now, some who have made it all the way to the tippy top of the NFL. What is the number one, we worked on this in practice thing that irks you when it doesn't translate into the game?
What irks me is in every kid that I know and also my colleagues, I'm a big hater of 707. Okay.
Yes.
I'm a big hater of 707. I know the benefit of 707, but when I say 707, I'm talking and speaking on like the AAU circuit of 707. You know what I'm saying? And my organization, we have 707 as well, but I'm the least guy that's involved with everything that's going on with that, because for one, I get very frustrated with quarterbacks. When you're thinking about 707, and I watch 707 and kids posting videos and things of that sort, number one thing is poor footwork. Okay? Poor footwork, and we've been working on this footwork and getting it down to the T, and then all of a sudden you get in 707 and you start walking in your drops. Sometimes you don't take a drop. Then you're throwing a pass in the A gap and B gap, and I'm just like, that's not going to happen in football. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, those are the things that are pet peeves when you say things from training, and it's more so with drops. And everything about drops is it gets you in a rhythm. As long as you're energized and you got that energy in your drop to get great separation from the offensive line, that's only going to help you out when it's time for you to make that final decision within your route, your play concept of where you're going with the football. If you're going to walk it, then you're going to be looking at your offensive line saying, y'all not blocking. No, you're not getting great separation away from the offensive line because you're being lazy in your drop, And that's my big pet peeve on all levels is footwork. Footwork. That's not going to go anywhere. So So guys, you can try all these different moves and all that you want to. It's still quarterbacking one-on-one. Okay, learn to play from the pocket. If it doesn't work in the pocket, be able to be creative once you get outside those tackle boxes.
I love that question and answer, Diesel, to your point. I'm with you, Ramon. 7-on-7, I've seen teams win national 7-on-7s, and then when the season gets there, not even make the playoffs. So I'm with you on that, man. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so what you're saying, that's just like, kids can train, and I'll say it just like this. Hey, man, don't be doing this type of footwork out here, and you go back to your high school, then your coach gonna be like, oh, that's what you learning with Ramon? Nah, that ain't what you learning with me, because I don't coach your 7-on-7 team when you're running all across the country playing with these other teams. No, I am big on the true day one fundamentals when it comes to playing quarterback, and it does not change. You still got to master and clean up everything from the waist down. Once you can clean up all those things, everything up top becomes the norm,
Ramon, can you give South Carolina Gamecock fans a little bit of a behind the scenes of what you've seen from Lenoris? Obviously, having trained him, you've been around him a lot more than the common person. What have you seen from him, and what do you think South Carolina Gamecock fans should expect in 2024?
The thing I've seen from him, the one is I've seen growth every year. I've seen consistency. I've seen determination, and that's what I've seen from him since he started training with me, from being recommended by one of my college teammates to come and train with me. I got the next Ramon Robinson. That's how he came to me. He said this guy could throw the ball already 50-something yards in like the 6th grade. I think he started with me in the 6th grade. I think it was 6th or 7th grade. And that's what it's been. And it's just been that his development and growth, and he's still growing. Not just growing mentally, he's still growing physically. The boy done grew like 2 inches since he's been at the University of South Carolina. And it's just that he's a guy that's full of growth and I'm gonna say experience as well, because he knows what it takes right now. He knows the position that he's in. It's not going to his head. He's taking one day at a time. He's still doing the things that he did prior to him getting any type of office. He's still grinding away, doing his tune-up sessions outside the season. Like right now, this is the off season. He's doing the things that he needs to do and to be prepared to take over as QB1. And the things that people looking forward to seeing is being Lenore Sellers. If Lenore Sellers go beat and Lenore Sellers, they have no issues. I just said it the other day. Lenore just has to be him. He don't have to be nobody else. He go be Lenore Sellers, and everything else to take place.
Ramon Robinson, Elite Quarterback Academy, joining us here on the Fan Upstate. Ramon, it seems like all anyone coming up is interested in is brand development. You don't strike me as the type of coach who wants to have anything to do with that. You strike me as a don't put the cart before the horse type of guy. No amount of marketing is going to help you if you can't play. How do you impart that level of focus on the players that you develop?
Well, it's point blank. You just can't get caught up into all the social media hype of things and all that. And I always tell him, and that's another thing with him. And we're speaking about him is he's not a social media guy. A lot of the guys that in the success, they're not social media guys. And I just tell them straight up, don't if you're not one now, don't become one. Because that could be the deal breaker and the make and break of your career once you get too heavily involved in the things that's going on and the branding and stuff like that. It's just those things are going to happen. If you go out and produce on the field, or whether it's on the basketball court or whatever sport it is, the branding of who you are is going to come with your success on the field.
I like that as well. We're talking to Ramon Robinson, who was the first African-American quarterback to start at T.L. High School. He is in the Hall of Fame at Benedict College, where he was a 3-year starter as well. Fantastic player, even better person. We love having him on the show. Ramon, what does it look like? You've been training for 12 years now. What have you seen in terms of the landscape of your relationship with players pre-NIL and pre-portal versus post-NIL and post-portal? Are you seeing that big of a difference when you talk to players every day?
We talk about it, but my I would say this here, my knowing and of what it is with the NIL and how it takes place, there is little conversation, and especially like, with guys that's getting ready to go in, how does it work and so forth. I give them my 2 cents because honestly, I don't know every college's situation and how they deal with the NIL, regardless of what kids I got. But what I've seen is, every certain schools got NIL things in place to where, you got some of these $1 million dollars, you know what I mean? And it's just, what they got to understand is that's not going to happen. You got to be realistic about things and just, hey, I got an NIL ranking from on 3 and I'm supposed to get 1.2 million. So you think a university going to pay you 1.2 million to be on the bench? Okay. I'm just being, and at the same time is there is little things, there is guidelines with the NIL, and people and the young men have to understand that. Yeah, you're all going to get some level of NIL, but when you start talking about this big money and like the Rashada kid that was going to Florida and things like that, that's a different ballgame. You're talking about an NFL contract, and it's just, unbelievable. But then you look at it like, okay, is this really taking place? Yes, it's taking place, but is it performance-based? From what I'm seeing is everything is about performance-based. Yeah, you may agree to that, but also it's a fine line in that saying performance-based. That means games played, not games sitting on the bench. You know what I'm saying? So I try to educate them as much as possible in regards to my knowledge of what NIL is. And, not every kid that I train that's in college right now are getting the benefit of NIL. Now, have I seen it? I saw a nice little parking lot this summer of the guys that are getting the NIL treatment from their colleges, and I need to get a new truck, man. Compared to what I saw out there this summer. But honestly, I'm very happy for them just because of being able to take the opportunity to make money in college and also play ball. I still think as well, I still think it needs to be a line drawn in regards to different levels of what you can make, vice versa, because I think it has gotten out of hand. But I just think that I'm not sure if the NCAA can reel it back in to put levels of what an athlete can make if they're 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, so forth. I feel like that should have been in place prior to them saying NIL is the new thing. I felt like it should have went on the level of, hey, if you're a 5-star, you're entitled to make, I'm just using an example, you're entitled to make anywhere from, $500,000 to $750,000. And then it just goes down, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like a sponsorship package. And it's just, but the guidelines have to be this and that when it comes to it. But you can make more if you're playing. And I felt like that's the route that it should have went in. And I feel like it can still go there, but I'm not sure that if that's going to be a turn or a decision that they can make and backtrack on.
Yeah, Ramon, to your point, watching some of these recruiting videos, I've never seen this many Lamborghinis in one place outside of a Gone in 60 Seconds movie. You see in these schools just really laying this stuff out for some of these recruits. There's a good chance, Ramon, that some of our listeners may have a son who they think is a quarterback with some talent. Can parents apply to your program, or do you go out and find the quarterbacks that you think would fit well in your system?
No, that's one thing I don't do. I've never solicited outside of just posting that, hey, I got training on this day, so forth, whatever it be. But I've never got into soliciting, for talent and things like that. I just let my reputation and my body of work, like the guys that we're talking about now, and some of the other guys are still in college and going, I let my body of work speak for me versus me getting on social media talking, hey, I'm the baddest this, I'm the baddest that. Do I feel like I'm the best in this game with this stuff? Yes, I do. I have to. I mean, that's just like quarterbacking. You don't go in there saying, I think I'm the second best quarterback. No, I feel like I'm the best. And I'm in a group of a great group of quarterback coaches in with the QB legacy. And no, I feel like I'm the best? Yeah. Do he feel like he's the best? Yeah. And that's what you do. And iron sharpens iron. And that's what we're about. And like I said, we just bounce things off of each other. And it's just, I don't do the soliciting. I've never been into that. And I feel like I'm begging if I'm saying, hey, come train. You know what I mean? I don't do the inbox train. I don't inbox kids. I don't inbox kids, begging them to come train. I just let them come to me off of the things that they see from kids, whether it's from Pop Warner football, or whether it's middle school football, high school football, or college football, or pro-level football, to where If you want to come and be a quarterback and really be trained the right way and to, develop to train, in training, then I'm your guy. But if you want just training, no, I'm not that. I'm not no babysitter. I'm going to give it to you raw. I'm going to give you the tough love. I'm going to give you the tough love that you're going to get on the next level. And it's not just a physical game. It's a big mental game when it comes to quarterback. And I do a job of that in training to where I test them all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I beat them up a little bit, but I also pick them up at the same time because that's what you have to do as a quarterback to see how they're going to respond in different crisis situations and things like that. And that's why I say you have to have a short-term memory when it comes to playing quarterback. And I asked one of my quarterbacks the other day, I said, what are the 4 positions, and I'm going to ask y'all this, what are the 4 positions on the football team that you have to have a short-term memory?
I would say quarterback. I would say
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver. That's a good one, Ramon. That's good.
Maybe an offensive tackle. If you get beat, you got to forget about that quickly.
I would even say like offensive coordinator, but that's not on the field. You've stumped me there. I like that question. What's the answer, though?
That's a DB and a kicker.
Oh, yeah, I
yeah,
could see
true.
that. I could see that.
So
Dang, man.
When I say that, you got to think about it. Receivers, they're thinking about, hey, man, I dropped that ball. You can't think about what happened that play. You got to get back corrected and go. Or a DB. DB got the worst position in the world. You're on an island by yourself.
Yeah.
You get burned, you can't be thinking about what happened. Think about a play kicker that just missed a kick. Guess what? You got to have a short-term memory to get back aligned and to do your job and lead the team back down the field and hit that kick or whatever.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
It is with the quarterback.
Ramon.
And I asked that. You know what I'm saying? I asked that just because of things. Those are things that we need to know as athletes when you're getting on a guy. Because one thing you can't do, if you step on the neck of those athletes too long, they're not going to perform for you.
Ramon, listen, man, I can attest. I would also agree with you that you are the best. You do things the right way. I love that you and I have a great relationship because you like I said, you do it the right way. The things that should be done, you do it that way, and we appreciate you hopping on. And we've got to do it again real soon, buddy.
Right, I appreciate it. And can I say, if anybody's looking to sharpen their skills right before the season starts, the QB Legacy is having a camp the 19th and 21st in Greenville, South Carolina. You can go to the website and register. All the current quarterbacks that we talked about now that's playing in college football from the state of South Carolina will be in attendance and working as camp counselors and helping them out and giving them some of those nuggets in regards. And y'all also welcome as a staff to come, work the camp and interview guys at your pleasure.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Let's talk again soon, man. I really do appreciate it. That is Ramon Robinson. He's just the absolute best. Again, founder of Elite Quarterback Academy here in Greenville. Knows as much about the game as anyone you'll find. We
I love that
appreciate
statement. I don't have to go seeking them out. They find me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the best.
And he is, man. Like,
Yeah.
I've known Ramon for a long time, and Diesel, his reputation, man, he's top-notch.
When we come back, Cole, let's take a look around the ACC and ask the question. If you could just, like one of those claw games, just pluck Cade Klubnik off of the Clemson roster, who might you want to beat back up, drop into his role? Who might you rather have as the Clemson quarterback than Cade Klubnik? That's next, right here on the Fan Upstate.
Breaking news. We break the mold. Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Just a fantastic conversation that we had with Ramon Robinson there in the last segment. He is a quarterback whisperer. It is what he does, Cole. If you're Cade Klubnik this year, you have to feel like it is me versus the world as the quarterback for Clemson. He knows, Cade is fully aware of the subpar season that he had in 2023. He didn't have an awful season by any means, but relative to the expectations that he came into Clemson with, especially when you consider that he dethroned DJ Uiagalelei and took his job with that performance that he had in the ACC title game against North Carolina, expectations were sky high for Cade Klubnik, and he has not approached that thus far since he has been the main signal caller at Clemson. But I wanted to go with a little bit of a thought experiment, Cole, in this segment of the show.
Made me think a little bit.
Yeah, I want to make you
thinking
think a little
cap
bit. I
on.
want to make the Tolos think a little bit as well. Even if you're a Clemson fan and you're saying to yourself, this is blasphemy, Diesel. How dare you? How dare you question this? I want to know, Cole, if you could have another quarterback in the ACC on your roster, who would it be? Right? I mean, this is the transfer portal era. There are no rules that say you can't transfer inside your own conference. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that all of these guys are in the transfer portal, and you could have any one of these guys, pluck them off of their roster, put them into yours. How would you feel about having some of these guys wearing orange with that tiger paw turned to, 1:30 or 1 o'clock? As it is on the side of the helmet, Cole. So let's go through all of the quarterbacks, the presumed starters in the ACC this year. Some of them there's not a whole lot of information on, and credit to Alex Turry from Clemson Wire for these fantastic write-ups and gathering all of these stats. Man, that would have taken me a long time, but thanks, Alex, for doing the hard legwork on this one. There's a couple, Cole, that we don't have a lot of information on. For example, Eli Holstein, who's now at Pitt. He was a 4-star quarterback out of Alabama. We have basically no tape on that guy, and you certainly wouldn't give up Cade Klubnik for a guy that is a complete unknown, right? Really?
You told me he came from Alabama?
Wow. Okay, so I'm looking at this
recruited by
list.
Nick Saban?
I'm looking at this list of like 16, 17 guys, and I'm thinking there's like 4 of them on the list that are legitimate options. And you're saying, nah, man, all 17 are on the table.
You made me think about it. So you're telling me Nick Saban recruited him?
That's true.
Oh, and I'm supposed to just pass? Let me watch some film. How about that?
He is also a 4-star guy who, for lack of a better phrase, the best he could do was Pitt, right? I mean, so
that's
there's
a
lot of guys who
That's
come out of high school and they are highly hyped and highly recruited, who ultimately don't go on to do anything at all. And it's very possible that once he got to Alabama, he just didn't put a whole lot on tape, and Pitt was the best that he could do.
Real quick, a text from the 455. Clemson fans probably will not admit it, but they would love to have Lenoris instead of Cade.
Is that true, Clemson fans? Are any of you interested? Give us a 1 to 10, your interest level. If you're a Clemson fan, your interest in Lenoris Sellers. I would love to know the answer. And don't just say 0 because he's a Gamecock. And we don't do that at Clemson. No, give us a real answer, would you? Okay, so let's go. Elijah Brown, he's a freshman again. We know nothing out of him. He is a freshman quarterback at Stanford. That doesn't really say a lot of high praise on Elijah Brown. So let's get into the meat of this. Virginia, Anthony Colandrea, 2023, 63% completions, just a shade under 2,000 passing yards, 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 225 rushing yards on the season. He's not bad. He's not a bad quarterback by any means, and certainly playing in a system like Virginia. But let me rephrase that, not with a system like you have in Virginia, but with the personnel and the talent that you have around you at Virginia, it's going to make it hard to shine as a quarterback. So you got Cade Klubnik. You're going to go no on Anthony Colandrea. Very good. Okay. Here's another one that we don't have a lot of tape on. He sat behind a star at North Carolina, Max Johnson. 1,400 passing yards, even though he wasn't number 1 quarterback last year. 1,400 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns on the season. Could I interest you in a Max Johnson?
No.
No? Okay.
No, sir. Nope. That's 2 in a row, 2 no's for me.
Okay, how about Hank Bachmeyer from Wake Forest, who's out of Boise State? 2,000 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He is not good with the ball in his hand, though. Negative 26 rushing yards on the season.
I will also say
Pass.
no. 3 in a row. Pass again.
That's fair. Okay. Let's go up to Boston College. How about with Thomas Castellanos? 57% completions, 2,300 passing yards.
It's a good quarterback.
15 touchdowns, but 14 interceptions. He takes some risks with the football and throws a lot of picks. But
good quarterback.
But he does have 1,100 rushing yards. He did have 1,100 rushing yards last year. So even though he does make some poor decisions with his arm, he certainly makes some good decisions with his legs.
Has an ability to be a threat, like you said. He's a good quarterback. I think that you have to give Cade the nod, though, in terms of taking care of the football. I know that Cade, at times, struggled with handing the ball off versus pulling it, but I'd give Cade the nod there. Slightly, but I'd give Cade the nod.
Okay, I mean, that's one that I think you would probably say is a wash, is a push. If you had Castellanos over Cade Klubnik, sure, he would pick up some more rushing yards for you, but he would throw a lot more picks than what Cade Klubnik has done. How about Tyler Show out of Louisville via Texas Tech? 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 150 rushing yards. I'd say pass on
just
a guy
not
like
enough
this.
on paper yet.
Yeah, he did have his season cut short by injury, so don't look at that 746 passing yards and say, oh, well, he stunk, obviously. Yeah. No, he had his season cut short. Plucking a Cade Klubnik out of a roster with limited success. I say that with air quotey fingers, right? With the limited success he's had, I think that would be too big of a gamble to have a guy who's coming off an injury replacing Cade Klubnik.
Yeah, I'll go Cade there as well.
Okay, how about this? Why don't we go to Chandler Rogers, who's at Cal? 3,400 passing yards last year, 29 passing touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. He's not great with his legs. 180 rushing yards.
Good passer, though.
4 rushing touchdowns, though. He looked really good in the last year of the Pac-12, but that's also against Pac-12 defenses.
He's a good quarterback. And I hear you with the Pac-12 defenses, but are we really going to sit here and act like the ACC is some stout defensive conference?
No.
So in my opinion, I think his numbers, Diesel, might be similar in the ACC. Really good quarterback. Yeah. I think he's more of a comp to Cade than most of these guys.
Yeah.
And I think they're probably somewhere on the similar trajectory. Maybe Clemson, maybe Cade has a little more weapons than he does.
Yeah, if you could just reach in and body swap these two guys, I think Chandler Rogers could be a pretty decent upgrade over Cade Klubnik. Not a blow you away type of guy, but a decent little upgrade compared to what we saw in 2023 from Cade. How about going down to SMU, a guy that, again, hasn't done it against the best defenses, Preston Stone. He had 3,200 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, 198 yards on the ground. Not a guy who's gonna confuse a lot of defenses and be a threat to hold the ball and run it in himself. But he's a guy that can sling the ball and obviously take very good care of it.
I'll take Cade over Preston Stone. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's stay here in the state of South Carolina then. And this is somebody who I'd be shocked if you told me you wouldn't want him. Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina, who's now at NC State. His 2023 season was marred by injury, no doubt. Mm-hmm. But you can't tell me if you watched any Coastal games in 2022 and 2021 that guy, who is a 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year, 4-time first-team All-Conference selection, is not a better option than Cade Klubnik right now.
He's a baller. There's no doubt about it. I love Grayson McCall. And I'll tell you this, I cannot wait to see Grayson McCall versus Cade Klubnik this fall. That's going to be a lot of fun. And that will maybe tell the story of what we're talking about right now. I will say this, though, about Grayson. Would I take Grayson McCall? Absolutely. Would I also take the experience that Cade got last year from his first year under center against some good teams? Yes, I'd also take that experience. So it's a tough one, right?
So you're saying 1 year under center at Clemson is a greater than sign 3 years under center at Coastal.
I don't want to act like the 3 years at Coastal is just a blip, because that'd be disrespectful. Listen, he's seen a lot of snaps. He's seen more snaps than Cade. I just think that there's something to be said about the prospect that Cade was coming into the ACC, coming into Clemson. I think Cade might have some better attributes when he performs. I still like Grayson McCall. This is a question we could spend an entire segment on.
Yeah.
I love it. I love both guys. I think there's qualities from both that I would like to have.
Okay, here's another one. A guy's got a lot of pedigree behind him. He was recruited by Ryan Day at Ohio State. Now in the ACC at Syracuse, Kyle McCord. 3,200 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. Also not great with his legs, negative 65 yards at Ohio State when you've got the best of the best blocking for you.
Listen, I think Kyle McCord, Cade Klubnik, and I don't even know Grayson McCall, but I was going to say Chandler Rogers. I think those are as even as you get. I know what Kyle McCord did last year at Syracuse.
Ohio State.
At Ohio State, and now this year at Syracuse, first year. I think I would take Kyle McCord a little bit over Cade Klubnik.
Okay, and just to give you an idea, a reminder of what it is we're comparing all these guys to, Cade Klubnik, 2023, first year under center at Clemson, 64%, pretty good, 2,800 yards, 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 4 touchdowns with his legs off 182 yards. He's one of those guys who is not going to blow you away with his speed, with his legs, but he can get it done when he absolutely has to. With the decision-making, though, is a big problem for Cade. A lot of fumbles there down low. How about Haynes King, who's at Georgia Tech? He came out of, Texas A&M? Is that correct?
Sounds right.
Yeah, he 62% completions at Georgia Tech, 2,800 yards, 27 touchdowns, but he is an interception machine as well. 16 interceptions last year at Georgia Tech.
I like Cade over Haynes.
I do as well.
Yeah. I don't think – listen, we could see a good jump from Haynes this year. I think he could be a better quarterback. But I also think Clemson has a lot more talent around Cade, so that'll help as well.
Yeah, I think with those two, he's a push as a passer, but certainly Haynes King is a big-time upgrade as a runner. Again, he had almost 800 yards rushing on the ground last year. Consider the fact, when you talk about a running back who's got 1,000-yard season, you're like, wow, that's a 1,000-yard season. Here's a quarterback.
Yeah.
Who's not far off of that.
T. Swizzle asked on the stream, Diesel, are you saying that Klubnik has reached his full potential?
I don't know. All I can go off is what we've actually seen. I'm not going to allow myself, and I'm not going to allow the Tolos to get sucked into the potential game here. Okay.
Yeah.
All I can compare, all I can look at and say, here's what this guy did, here's what Cade did, is what they have actually done. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I don't care about your potential arguments. Cade Klubnik had a lot of potential coming into last season.
Yeah.
And where did it get him? So that's all I care about, is what have you actually done, not what people think you could do if everything falls right for you. Here's an interesting one, Cole. Kyron Drones, who's at Virginia Tech. That's a guy who is a monster with his legs, not so much with his arm. I mean, he still threw for 2,000 yards last year, 17 touchdowns, 818 rushing yards. That is a very underrated guy who does not have his name out there as much as it should.
I'm still going to go Cade over him.
Really?
Over Kyron. Yep. I'm going to go Cade there.
This one should be very, very easy. Cam Ward at Miami. He is a monster with the ball in his hand.
Yeah.
3,700 yards. I mean, he's a scary dude. And
might be the best in the conference.
Very well may be. And this is where it gets really interesting, Cole. DJ Uiagalelei, now back at Florida State, back in the ACC, had himself a great season last year at Oregon State, rehabbed his image enough for Mike Norvell to say, I really like this guy. If you could, right now, would you take DJU back?
No. Nope.
Okay.
I'm good. And listen, in my opinion, is Cade light years ahead of DJ? No. But I'm good. I'll keep Cade.
So you're saying basically you would like Cam Ward. I think you said you were mildly interested in Haynes King. I had your interest in Grayson McCall.
Yeah.
A little bit with Chandler Rogers at Cal. Outside of that, you want Cade.
I do. I do
Okay.
want, for the most part, I guess that would be what, other than 3 or 4 guys, I'll take number 2.
Which is interesting because, again, this a lot of this write-up came from Alex Turry over at Clemson Wire. He has Cade Klubnik as the 5th best quarterback in the ACC.
Close to.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't all have them all in that exact order.
Sure.
There's a guy or two who he lists below Cade Klubnik who I would be interested in and say if I could swap these two on the roster, I'd be willing to gamble on that one. But, all of this is kind of parsing words and just a matter of opinion. So I think there's probably 5 or 6 guys in this league who I think if you put them in a Clemson uniform would have a better season than Cade Klubnik.
I think there's a hand. I would say there's probably close to a handful, to put a bow on it. Close to a handful is where I'm going to go with it. I love the conversation, though. We'll have to get back to that before the season starts. Coming up next, we're going to get you updated on what happened last night with the Braves. Nothing happened. Spoiler alert. Got postponed. We'll update you. Daily Wires next.
Diesel on the fan.
Upstate.
A short segment here as we get you caught up on everything happening in the world of sports. We call them the Daily Wires. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Top 10 right
I've been
there.
working on it.
Have you?
I do train on that.
At home?
At home every
Okay.
night. I do 10 buzzes before bed every
I
night.
like that.
Yeah.
That's commitment right there. That's commitment. All right, the Braves game yesterday was postponed due to weather in St. Louis, so they're playing a doubleheader today. Right now, the Braves are winning 6-2, top of the 8th. I told you, Reynaldo's like a lock right now. It's like betting on Scotty, you know?
Yeah.
Reynaldo's on fire.
Somehow still third on that roster in Cy Young odds. I really do think a lot of this comes down to marketing and the fact that he just doesn't have the Chris Sale type of name.
Well, he's fixing to have to, man. He's been so good. Yesterday, South Carolina picked up a commitment from Cutter Woods, quarterback at Westside, and in the same day lost a commitment of 4-star quarterback London Duckworth, who had been committed since August of 2023. Clemson outfielder Nathan Hall has committed to rival South Kakalaki, played in 12 games, 22 at-bats, and a 227 batting average for Nathan Hall. Tonight, the NBA draft begins. The Atlanta Hawks have the number 1 overall pick. Can't wait to talk about who they pick tomorrow. The Brooklyn Nets made a huge trade yesterday by sending Mikal Bridges to the Knicks. The Knicks, man, all of a sudden with him and Brunson, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. In case you missed it, Jim Schlossnagle, is that right? Schlossnagle leaves Texas A&M for the Texas baseball job. Cut 3 here, Brandon. Listen to this audio from today, Diesel. Schlossnagle finally apologized.
It's not loading for some reason.
Okay, it's not cooperating. That's okay. We'll try to get back to that later.
What's interesting about this, Cole, and we played this audio yesterday of Schlossnagle jumping down the throat of a reporter who asked the question about him possibly leaving for another opportunity. And, he's like, it's essentially how dare you ask me that question? I've given so much to Texas A&M. This is the place that I wanted to go and never have to take another job. And then I dug this little gem out. This came from Drew Davison
All right, it's back
on Twitter. And he posted this on May 24th, 2021, when Schlossnagle, who was at the time at TCU, he shut down any Texas A&M speculation, saying, quote, I have no interest in any other job. And then he took the A&M job.
So he's consistent.
So he's a liar. He's a consistent liar, yeah.
I think we have that audio now. Let's see if we can fire it off.
When the game ended, I want to publicly apologize to Richard Zane from Texas. He's a young reporter. He asked the question. That was an obvious question. I wish I could have answered that better. But in the moment, 30 minutes after the last pitch, all I could think about was our players. And I really wasn't in the mood to talk about myself or the future. So I apologize for that to Richard.
I like that he apologized.
All I could think about was the players. No, all you could think about was how fast you could get the hell out of College Station.
Was hoping someone didn't ask that question, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Women's soccer star Alex Morgan has been left off the United States women's national team. First time without Alex Morgan since 2008. How about that?
Oh, come on. Where's your outrage over this? You were outraged that Caitlin Clark
she's
wasn't
not
on
any
the
good.
team. Yeah, but didn't you say you wanted Caitlin Clark on there basically because of the marketing
No,
ability?
I never said that. There's
a lot of people who argued that point really heavily.
Cole never said that. Cole said she's one of the best players on the freaking planet, right?
In college.
No.
She hadn't been a great player in the pros up to that point.
She's still the best, one of the best players. I'd still take her over anybody. Let's see. Lionel Messi injured himself in Argentina's 1-0 win over Chile in Copa America. I hope he gets better. Jacksonville City Council voted 14-1 to approve a $1.4 billion in renovations to Everbank Stadium. Earlier this week, the Panthers got approval for $650 million in renovations.
They said, oh, yeah, watch this.
That's right. Dave said, hold my beer, or actually, here, hold it, I'll throw it on you. D1 Baseball named Cole Messina a second-team All-American. And lastly, last Daily
Wire. He also
Wire.
won the Johnny Bench Award.
He did what?
Cole Messina. They sent out a press release. South Carolina sent out a press
release
earlier saying that he had won the Johnny Bench Award.
And last thing, We haven't got it in yet. Clue number 2 for your chance to win a $25 gift card here at Ingles as we're live at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. Clue number 1 was if you ate just one of these, it would be very tiny. Clue number 2, the origin of this product is tall and named after a star. We'll give you 2 more clues in each hour of the show coming your way. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. 5 o'clock fight with Melissa next.
Of course, you're You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
I can't tell you how many text messages we've gotten on the show already today. Where's Melissa? When's Melissa coming to be a part of Wire to Wire? Why do we even have these guys on the show? Just let her host the show.
Silly.
That's what they say every single Wednesday. They're wanting to know, where is Melissa? This is what we do on this segment every single day. We call it the 5 o'clock fight. 3 topics, sometimes sports, sometimes not. A lot of times just life topics. Cole and I have to disagree. Normally, the Tolos get the one and only word on who wins each round of the fight, but today we bring in our special judge, Melissa Level, marketing director here for Ingles. So let's go ahead and get this thing started.
Hi, everybody.
It's an all-out slugfest, and nobody's leaving unscathed. 3 topics, 1 winner. It's the 5 o'clock fight on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
How you vote is you text 71307. Let us know who wins each round of the fight. Again, Cole and I have to disagree. You tell us who you side with. Let's get started now with round number 1. It's a simple question, Cole, and it's a simple question, Melissa.
Uh-oh.
The Olympics, compelling or nah?
So I've told you before, people may think, oh, Cole's un-American. Cole doesn't love his country. Throw him out and into the ocean. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Diesel. I'm sorry, Melissa. The Olympics just don't move the meter for me. I'd be lying if I sat here and said, oh, I cannot wait for the Olympics to start. I'd be lying.
Don't apologize to me.
I don't care.
Apologize to George Washington.
Yeah.
And
sorry,
to Thomas
George.
Jefferson.
Sorry, Thomas.
You got to apologize to all of America when you're saying it's not important enough.
That's true, right?
So you know what? No, there are lots of Olympic events that are boring and dull, and they should get rid of them. They shouldn't even exist. They should have never been brought around in the first place. But everybody perks up and pays attention to the big ones, right? The track races, the Olympic basketball, when they get down into the finals, when the men are competing in this thing. I think the Olympics are very compelling, and I think you hate America if you say they're not.
Well, first
I
of
don't
all,
like
you
it.
Stand up in the middle of the night to see them, okay? Because they're like, all right, so you have to be so compelled.
You have to be disciplined to not look up the results before they show it on air on primetime.
I am not an Olympic fan, but not because I don't love the sports, okay? I would follow those sports in college or professional tennis or, track and field or whatever that might be. My issue is that it is all about the sponsors and the money. And I know this because I'm a potential sponsor of the Olympics, okay? And because you think everybody in the world's going to be watching.
Well, that's some self-loathing right there.
I do not have stores all over the world, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so I just don't think it's for me to do that. And I looked at the numbers, and to be honest with you, it is not compelling to everyone. Okay, there are some sports that rank higher than others. Gymnastics, track and field, and when the dream team played, okay, when you had the real dream team for basketball, that was a huge rating spurt. But right now, I doesn't move the meter for me either. There's enough things I'm like, I'd rather watch my Braves.
Yep.
Okay, or not your Astros or any of those things.
Wow, I can't get down with this, Melissa.
Yeah, but I just don't think it has. It's a much more international field than the all-American sports fan. I'll just put it there.
I'll just put it like this: it's boring.
I don't think it's boring. I just think it's not. But why? My thing is why.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it's an awful lot of money, but with an awful lot of sponsors poured into a country we're not in. When we have a lot of problems on our own, I'm not going to get anywhere past that.
It's about maintaining international relations and proving that American athletes are the best in the world. We can't go around claiming things like we're the world champion at things and then say, yeah, but we don't compete with the world. We just compete over here with ourselves.
The fact of the matter is when we compete in the Summer Olympics, there's only a few sports that we really actually win. Okay, so we can't really say that we're going for the international lead on everything. And it's always a gold medal race between several countries. Got that. Understand it. I mean, I think it's fun to root for your USA team. You know what I rooted for? Hockey. Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay. The Miracle on Ice. I mean, I'm all for that because that's the American thing. Okay. Other than that, no, it really doesn't move the needle for me.
All right, let's move on to fight number 2.
Round 2, fight.
I think we all can agree we all love corn on the cob,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's
Yes.
delicious. But is it better if it's topped with butter or mayonnaise? Meaning like Mexican street corn
Okay, I have to.
or the traditional Southern corn with butter?
So it is the only correct answer is I've seen some faces out there that have might be trying to sway it. But listen, I'm sorry. There's only one correct answer. Corn with mayonnaise is the only way to go. It's the
Does
only
anybody
way.
have a cup? I need to barf. Okay, I got
Corn with mayonnaise is the freaking absolute best.
Okay, he needs to drink the coffee with the mayonnaise.
No.
It's not
Okay,
good.
remember
No.
that.
Don't do it. You're going to don't do
Corn
it.
with mayonnaise, there's nothing better. You don't have to worry about it melting. It adds flavor. Everybody loves
I don't-
mayonnaise.
I don't
corn
trust
on mayonnaise.
anything,
Do
Cole,
you
that
like
you can
bite
put.
into it with the mayonnaise?
Yeah, and
on
mayonnaise gets all over your face.
It? Oh, that's disgusting.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I don't trust anything, Cole, that you can put on a hot piece of corn and it not melt.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's something
exactly.
weird chemically going
Exactly.
on in there.
Yeah, what happens to that?
No.
Right. Yeah.
This is
When
the
they
South,
put it, it's
man.
like from space. Okay.
we love tradition around here. Give me corn. If you got those like little yellow corn spikes that you can stick in the side
Oh
of the corn on the cob,
yeah.
drizzle it in butter. That's the best way to do it.
I like the
It
little
melts.
ones that have
It's
different
gone in
designs on
30
them, and,
seconds.
you know, they look like little corn cobs, right?
Yeah.
And you stick them in the side, and you have butter. Oh my gosh! And you can wrap it in
Yeah.
aluminum foil and put it in the grill.
Yeah.
Wrap some onion
Mhm.
around it and all that other stuff, and you put mayonnaise on it, and you will die.
I like to
Mayonnaise
You will
is
die.
just
I like
Okay.
to soak the ears with still all the shuck all on it, soak it for a while, then put that on the grill,
Yep.
just let it steam
In the
from the
husk,
outside.
right?
Yeah,
Now
that's the way
listen,
to do
if
it.
you were to take it off the cob and mix it in a salad, maybe.
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about
but
what I do.
not
I
on
take
the cob.
I take on the cob mayonnaise all over.
Where are you from? What alien planet?
Spartanburg, South Carolina.
That
Boiling
explains
Springs,
everything.
South Carolina. Come on. There's got to be somebody out there that likes mayonnaise on their
I
corn,
don't know.
right?
Have you had anybody yet, Diesel, that likes mayonnaise? on their-
Let's see.
Mexican street corn is good,
yes, but it's not just the.
but it's not
mayonnaise,
just the man. You got to put a lot of other
other
stuff on
things
there too.
it. Yeah, but if
Yeah.
you're just going to slather it with this
It's the
unmeltable,
best.
meltable chemical, okay, that when you eat it, more gets on your face than
Yes.
on the corn.
Yes.
It's awful, horrible.
All right, one more round to go. I think
You
I got
want-
that one in the bag. Just
you
want,
yeah,
Diesel,
my
you
response
want-
on that one. Round 3. It's time to go for a walk. You know, you've had a long day. You need to unwind for a little while. Are you an outside walker or a treadmill walker, Cole?
So I'm very ADHD. I mean, like very. Every segment, every break, I have to get up. I can't sit still. I don't
He's
mind.
bouncing around right now.
I am. I'm the same way in any kind of class or anything. I can't sit still. I don't mind a treadmill. I do like the benefits of having an incline. However, I have to be able to see a different view. If I turn my head this way, I mean, I'm looking at Jay Wilson the whole time. I mean, I'm looking at every light bulb during the show anyways. So give me a walk outside.
You mean right now when it's 97 degrees?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Get
I'll
out
do
of
it.
here, man. Look, how many times have we seen just in the last like 6 months stories about pedestrians getting run over with cars out on the road because the drivers aren't paying any attention, right? There was that big story in Charleston. It happened a couple weeks ago. I've had cars like swerve towards me when I'm on the sidewalk minding my own
I
business.
think it's
Being out on the
intentional.
road is
And they're
scary.
after you.
Something I was wearing,
Okay,
I'm
they're
sure.
after you. Can I
The
only
look
have
on my
one question?
face.
Outside, are you allowed to carry a weapon?
Yep.
Okay, then outside definitely.
Okay.
Melissa, she can get a weapon. She's good. I like it.
That
I like it, so I
concludes-
win today.
By the way, just so you know, USA did win in the medal count in the last Olympics, 113 total, and they took the lead in gold medals, 39-38 over those stinking Chinese.
Was it winter?
We won the Olympics.
Was it
No,
winter?
these are the 2020 Summer Games.
Yep.
And I think
Well, I
it's the
think they
first
probably
time.
did, but
And
yeah.
I think it's the first time Melissa's actually ever sided with me 2 out of 3.
There
Yeah,
you go.
it
What
is.
do you think, you Tolos? Now's your chance to vote, and we'll tell you right now, if you want to suggest a fight, here's how.
What do you want Diesel and Cole Bryson to fight about next?
If you've got an ass, I'll kick it.
Submit your topics to Diesel at thefanupstate.com. Subject line, fight on the Fan Upstate.
I think Jay is just messing with you with your ADHD, Cole. He just points, and we all look.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a
I'm
squirrel over
squirrel,
the other
huh?
part of the room.
Hey,
Yeah.
while the votes come in, Diesel, I want to ask Melissa about something that I tweeted 1 hour ago.
Uh-huh.
And just so you know, I did make a trip to the snack department here at this wonderful
Good for
Ingles
you. Yeah.
to find out if you guys carried it. Yes or no, Melissa, too? Let me show the stream. Spicy dill pickle goldfish.
Oh, absolutely.
Does that not sound freaking amazing?
Yeah. Have you had the spicy dill pickle sausage?
No.
You know, like what are the Slim Jims?
No, I have not.
Oh, they're
I'm
really
in.
good too. Yeah.
We do like Diesel and I both like Slim Jims.
Yeah, they got.
I got a
those,
snack throughout the food.
Yeah.
You work up an appetite talking
Yeah,
sports
I'm a
for 4
snacker
hours.
anyway. I'm like a
Yeah.
I'm a gnar. Definitely.
So
I haven't tried them, but I'm going to try them.
well, they're not here yet. Maybe soon. But I went to the goldfish aisle,
Yeah, and
and I was fascinated by the amount of flavors. Like I felt dumb because I didn't know this, but I took a picture just so y'all can know. Pretzel, pizza, Parmesan, what's that say? Flavor blasted pizza, pretzel mix, original, cheddar, baby. They even have,
What's a baby?
I guess, just
Unflavored
baby.
Has
maybe?
anybody ever tasted a baby?
What does a baby taste
Sour
like?
What's a
cream.
baby
Tastes like
flavor?
chicken.
Did you know they had
Tastes like
sour
chicken.
cream and onion goldfish?
Didn't know
Seriously,
that,
what
but
a
now I
baby
want it.
tastes like.
Melissa, sour cream and onion goldfish. Did you even know that there was such thing?
No, but I love sour cream.
They're
And I love onion.
right there. How good does that
Do you love
sound?
sour cream and onion potato chips? That is the
Oh, I love
all-time
it.
best flavor
Yeah, I
of
love
potato
those.
chips.
Look at that
Okay.
salt and vinegar goldfish
Yeah,
here at
those are good
Ingles.
too. Those are
I
good.
love salt and vinegar.
It's like potato chips.
I was fascinated by.
Yeah.
Oh, cheddar jalapeno, and my favorite. I think this would be my favorite.
Why don't you just mix them all together, Cole, and you can
Oh,
make
that'd
your
be
own
Cool.
flavor?
That would be
Yeah.
really good. That'd be like a Chex Mix. That'd be really
I
good.
think this would be my
Corn and mayo. Ugh.
Don't give me any ideas. Hey, last but
Gonna
not
call
least,
somebody.
That's good.
last but not least, I think the best flavor here at Ingles of goldfish, Frank's Red Hot.
Oh yeah.
Put that
Yeah,
on
that's-
on everything.
anything.
That's a hot sauce, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there, let's go. Let's get into the votes. Cole, I'll go with the stream. You go with the text line. Diesel wins round 1, says Spur Daddy. Says, Cole, are you a Russian? Let's see here. That was the question is, are the Olympics compelling or not? Spur Daddy says Diesel wins round 2, and Spur Daddy sides with you, so I don't get the clean sweep off of Spur Daddy's votes, but I'll take 2 out of 3 any day. Madcraft says Diesel wins round 1. No, Spur, he's an alien not from planet Earth. Everyone likes the Olympics worldwide. Let's see. Let's go on with more of Madcraft's votes. Let's see if I can find. He says Diesel wins rounds 1 and 2. Cole wins round 3. But man, is Cole insane or what? Yeah, it's the mayonnaise on. Corn.
It's the best.
Cole.
I
That's
want it.
lost
We
you
should
a
make
lot
him
of the
eat
audience.
that next week
Oh.
on live.
I'll do it. I will do it, and it'll be easy to do because I can eat a ton of grilled corn.
He does say
This
that
is
he
so
is
gross.
seriously thinking about calling the Men in Black hotline on you.
I get it.
Very good.
On the
That's
text
very good.
line, texter from the 230 says Melissa is awesome. How about that, Melissa? You've got a
Thank
fan
you.
out there from the 230. 470 says corn with butter is elite. However, my wife loves street corn, but corn with butter rules in this house. 470 says outside Walker. We all want to be outside as much as possible. 979 says Diesel round 1, Diesel round 2. So Diesel wins, Cole round 3. At least I didn't get swept. 230 says Cole wins round 1 and 2. That comes from Al Baby. Bobby says Cole with the sweep, love mayo on corn. So there's somebody that actually does as well.
You have a friend from the planet.
I
You should
do
go
have
reach
a
out to
friend.
them and
Yes.
see.
449 says Diesel wins 2-1. And then the 405 says clean sweep for Diesel today. Easy work by the man, the myth, the legend, but does have a question for Melissa. This comes from Bullwinkle. Melissa, Bullwinkle wants to know, can you please get the boys a bag of those spicy boiled peanuts y'all carry in the produce section? They are great.
You betcha. You tell Bullwinkle, I will do that. I
You
will do
better
that
come
right now.
strong with boiled
So-
peanuts because
Yep.
I don't like them.
I hate to say this. He hates boiled peanuts. I
hate
love
boiled
them.
peanuts.
I love them, but I hate to say this. I didn't know
Those are the ones in
Ingles
the,
had them.
ask them, are they the ones in the can, Bullwinkle? Are they the ones
Oh,
in the
yes,
can?
yes.
Yeah, I think they're the ones in
Yes.
the can, right?
The ones in
Yeah.
the can you just dump out and heat up, right?
Exactly. Mhm.
I have
Okay.
had those. Sherb says, hell no to mayo on corn, butter all the way. Well, Sherb, try it sometime. You might like it.
Cole,
Or-
what
or you might
basement do
die.
you mayonnaise on corn lovers meet in once a week?
It depends. It changes. We rotate.
You go to somebody's
Do you
house
put
each week.
mayonnaise on tomatoes too?
So I
Yeah.
don't eat tomatoes.
Okay.
I love mayonnaise, but not on corn. If that's
Yeah.
all there is,
That's all there is.
all
I'm not
there
a
is.
tomato
No,
eater.
no.
Not
Yeah.
a tomato guy. I love ketchup. Hate tomatoes, right?
Oh, you need all that extra sugar and salt and processing.
Yes.
That's what you need.
Yes. If
I
you
understand.
Mix
If you
it in
mix ketchup and mayonnaise, you get Thousand Island dressing.
Say it again.
Ketchup and mayonnaise, and you get Thousand Island dressing.
Is that right?
Yes.
And like a Japanese restaurant, white sauce is mostly mayonnaise, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I tried to make
I
it.
don't know. But
Anytime you hear the
I'm
word
guessing.
aioli, it
Or
just means mixed with mayonnaise.
shrimp sauce, white. Some people call it shrimp sauce, white sauce. You guys sell it here
Right.
as well. I try to make it. It's really hard to make. It has paprika, mayonnaise, vinegar, a couple other things. It's hard to make though.
Yeah, and that's tzatziki sauce. That's mayonnaise.
Tzatziki
and,
sauce,
yeah, with
yes.
cucumbers and all that stuff.
Tzatziki sauce is good.
Great
Y'all got
stuff.
me hungry now.
Yeah, I know.
Y'all got me
I'll have
hungry.
to go get those peanuts, and we'll do that. Thank you, Bullwinkle. We'll
So I
do
think
that.
ultimately what matters here is that Diesel won the 5 o'clock fight today, right?
From who?
From most of
I
the
thought
people who
Melissa was
voted
the
in.
only one that
Did
mattered.
anybody really count?
So Melissa, tell us who wins. You
Well-
be the deciding factor. We appreciate all the votes from everybody who texted in and messaged in, but who wins?
Okay, but I got to tell you that I agreed mostly with Cole today. Okay, but I can't vote for anybody.
Un-American
No, wait, I can't
so-and-sos.
vote for anybody that puts mayonnaise on their clothes.
So say it out loud.
You win.
Yes!
Oh, she's a traitor.
Yeah, I take that.
She's a traitor. You had 2 votes for me,
I just have
one
this
for
picture
Diesel,
of you
but
getting
you
it
didn't
all in
like.
your beard. and
Oh,
We
it's
had a-
fantastic.
We had a listener laugh because Cole changed my mind on one of my 5 o'clock fights. He goes,
Right.
wait, Cole just talked you into agreeing with him.
Yeah.
But then I turned one of his voters against him, so I got that vote back.
Yeah, you
And I
did.
still won the whole thing.
There you
Melissa Level, marketing
you.
director here at Ingles
Bye, everybody.
Markets. Melissa, you were telling me a week or two ago about your renewed partnership with Wofford College.
That's right.
I know that's gonna make you very
That's
happy
right.
over there.
Uh-huh.
She's
Yes,
a
me
Wofford
too.
Terrier graduate. Cole is as well. Talk about just for a quick minute about how much you guys do and what makes it so important to you to support everything local. We're talking
Right.
high school football, college football. You even see it at some of the Pop Warner fields.
That's
you see
right.
marketing messages for Ingles there.
And high school, definitely. And of course, we have Saturday morning scramble, which
Yes.
is really great. No, even with the college sponsorships, the FCF School Southern Conference, we're sponsored with the Southern Conference, but then we went ahead and do the additional sponsorships with both Furman and Wofford as the official grocer. It gives us an opportunity to do our charity work through the schools. We get an opportunity to reach out to fans, and we also provide television. We're the only sponsor, and Southern Conference is the only conference in the United States that has an absolute every week 1.2 million people that can watch the SoCon Game of the Week presented by Ingles, which Ingles, contributes to. So we love doing that, and we also love being able to help and support charities with our 3 for 3, which is $3 for every 3-point, $1 for every strikeout in baseball and softball, and $100 for every field goal. So we really love that. We also have USC Upstate, UNCA. We do a lot of Big South, Gardner Webb, really all in your area. So other than just the conference play, we like going with the individual schools because that gets us really down and dirty in the actual communities. We're a community grocery store. We're a big company, but we're a community grocery
love that.
store.
Only 7 weeks, Melissa, until high school football and
Can
the
I
first
squeak?
Saturday scramble. 7 weeks. That's crazy.
Do you know where my Seminoles will be week 1, right?
The Seminoles week 1. Gosh.
Yeah, and a
Hold
little
on.
bit of a lucky charm.
Oh, Notre Dame.
No, they're in Ireland and they play.
Oh,
They play Georgia Tech in Ireland. They're
That's
the
right.
first game. Yeah.
A
So
lot
we're
of
really,
Irish people living in Tallahassee, huh?
no, but football's really big. Okay. They're like David Hasselhoff. They love them in Germany. But no, yeah, they did that. They really love football and the NFL, which is what the college football is trying to be, right? Always plays in different places,
Yeah.
and so now they're going to be playing in other countries throughout the year. So this is the first year they've done it. It's going to be going over to Ireland. I think Notre Dame may have done that maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Whenever there, which was a natural for that, but it is going to be fun. Georgia Tech, Florida State. It is the
That's
first
going to be a
game.
long plane ride back after losing to Georgia Tech in Ireland, Melissa.
You think they're going to? Excuse me. Excuse me, because I've got a parachute for you if you would. And we'll time it right over the ocean. Get the heck out of here.
Hey, by the way, Bullwinkle said, no, it's not the ones in the can. It's the
Okay.
ones in the bag. It's
Okay.
Lou Ray's boiled peanuts.
Okay, and they're in the.
I
produce
didn't know there
department?
was, yes, what he said,
Okay, I'll go
bag
find 'em for
boiled
you.
peanuts?
I'm going to go find them.
We got to find them. We're on a mission.
I'll
now.
have a boiled peanut live on the air. If you can
Okay,
find those,
I'll get
I
it.
will
There's
have
no
it
way
right
they're
here.
already boiled, are they?
I don't know.
We'll have to go look.
Yeah, I'll go
We'll
check.
find them out.
I'll check it out. I'm on a mission.
There you
We
go.
appreciate it,
Yeah,
Melissa.
you'd have to maybe have some water or something. Like
To wash
yeah.
it down.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, coming up in the very next segment, Diesel and I will do something we've been talking about for a few weeks now. We're going to remake the sports calendar. NFL, college football, baseball, you name it, basketball, We're going to tell you when those sports should be played and remake that calendar next, right here on the Fan Upstate.
Eight four four fan phone. This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
It is Wire to Wire as we are live at Ingles. I'll give you the address because if you're in the area, we'd love for you to stop by and try to take a swing and enter for your chance to win a $25 gift card. We're live at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. you can stop by. And does Melissa, has she found the boiled peanuts? Diesel? Those aren't boiled.
Those dry roasted? Oh, boil in bag.
Wait a minute. You just drop them in
ourselves.
You drop the bag in the water? The hot nuts.
Whoa, careful now. This is a family show, Melissa.
But those are regular.
That's what I'm talking about.
And those are going to be good as well. We'll have to
yeah.
crack those open here during the next
Ready for
break.
that.
Melissa's the best. She found the boiled peanuts. Again, clues for you to win a $25 gift card. Clue number 1 was if you ate just one of these, it would be very tiny. Clue number 2, the origin of this product is tall and named after a star. Clue number 3 is these are available plain, salted, or shelled. That might give it away, Diesel, right?
Okay. I mean, it would be really on the nose if the answer was hot nuts.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not? Okay. I'm stumped still.
So if you come by this Ingles that we are at right now, we will let you enter for a chance to win a $25 Ingles gift card. It could be your dinner tonight or lunch tomorrow. We appreciate Ingles and everything that they do. Diesel, let's get into the 520 segment. You and I have teased this for a couple of days now.
Oh, we've been thinking about this for years. That's the thing.
Well, that's true. The sports calendar, if you and I had to remake it, let's go one by one and allow our Tolos, our audience, to dictate whether or not they agree or disagree with our suggestions for remaking the calendar, the sports calendar for the entire year. So let's start with the NFL, Diesel. The NFL currently kicks off on September the 5th, and the Super Bowl is on February the 9th. Do you have any issue with the current NFL schedule? If so, what should we do to fix it?
Yeah, I think it starts just a little bit late and ends a little bit late. Now, you know as well as I do that they are expanding this league by games, and they're going to keep expanding it. I think they're going to eventually get up to 18 games. I mean,
gotta hope not.
Probably will, though. I mean, it was 16 forever, and then they got them to go to 17, and then next it's going to be 18, and then it's going to be 9. You know as well. That's how it works, right?
It is.
They're gonna get more games out of these rosters, and they're gonna make this game, this season, as long as they possibly can, so they can make as much money off of it as they possibly can. But in an ideal world, Cole, I would have this season kicking off in early August and ending in early January, right? Just after New Year's. It can be the first Sunday after New Year's. That's Super Bowl Sunday. Just basically move it up a month.
So move it up a month, kick off in early August, which would be what, like 6 weeks from now, right? 5 or 6 weeks from now. You know, it's fascinating. That would mean training camp would be July, late June, July. Super Bowl win, January, you said? Is that right? Move it up a month?
Yep.
I don't have a huge issue with the current format. I don't. I know it starts a little bit later than college, and it's going to get the ratings, but believe it or not, I don't have a huge issue with the current format.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not itching to move it,
but if we have to.
The exercise is if we have to move it, what are we going to do?
If we have to move it,
yeah,
I will go. I'll go the opposite.
You want to move it back?
Just a hair. Here's why.
So you want to let high school football and college football breathe a little bit before we get the NFL?
A little bit, and then I want the Super Bowl to end, and as soon as the Super Bowl ends, I want March Madness to begin. It's just bam, bam, back to back.
Okay, I don't hate that idea at all. If I could make some changes to their schedule, I would say stop encroaching on all these days. You know, we need Sunday football and Monday football. We don't need Thursday night NFL. Let Thursday belong to college football, please.
Yeah, Amazon would disagree, right? They want that money.
All 12 people who are watching the NFL on Amazon.
You didn't watch it?
The only time, no, I did watch it, but it was a crap product. Remember last year, that's all anyone ever talked about when it came to the NFL on Amazon was how much it sucks.
I'm not going to be one that complains about a football game on a Thursday because I love it. Listen, I know I might be the opposite here. I wouldn't care if they put it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm all in. More football.
Thursday needs to be for college football. It needs to be that breakout day where a premier matchup is on Thursday. Everything else is on Saturday.
All right, college football currently kicks off August 24th, ends national championship January the 8th. Any issue? If so, what should we do to it?
No, I don't have any issues at all with the college football schedule. The only thing is get rid of this DA week 0 crap where they're trying to encroach onto high school football. We need some time. We need to, you got to stagger this thing as the way it's always been. You get high school football on a Friday, then you wait a week and you get college football on Saturday, then you wait a week and you get NFL starting that Sunday. Is that too difficult of a thing to have, right? We're undoing all of these traditions in seeking the almighty dollar.
I want to move college football back just a hair, okay? Not by much, but NFL, man, we get, and I know you're a guy that likes, you and Rob Brown talked about, y'all want to put a roof over every NFL stadium. We don't get the same feel in college football of having to play games in frigid temperatures. I'd like to see that more. I think it adds to the game. I play the opposite side of you, Diesel, where
Wisconsin would differ with you on that on Camp Randall. Michigan, Ohio State, Minnesota.
See, I like the outside games.
Well, North Dakota State plays in a dome.
They do play in the game. I differ from you. I like the outside games. I like the weather element of the game. I would like to see a little more college weather element, maybe pushed back, let's say 2 weeks if we have to move it.
And I do have to defend myself on that, Cole. I don't want all NFL stadiums to be permanently domed. I want them all to be retractable.
Yeah, I like
to have the ability to open it and close it. If the weather is beautiful, open it. By all means, have that thing open. But in really, really terrible conditions. We see one almost every year in Buffalo. It's like every day in Buffalo, right? They shouldn't be playing in those conditions. Fans who are spending that kind of money,
see, I love it,
shouldn't be subject to those kinds of conditions.
I love those conditions. I so badly want to go to a game in those conditions.
You just want to watch people suffer.
I want to suffer with them.
Okay.
I want to go. All right, Major League Baseball. Diesel, it currently starts March the 20th and ends November the 1st, which is the whole freaking year, right? Which it's too long of a season. It needs to be cut short by about 30 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I think ending the season on November 1st, I'm fine with, right? Because the month of October is Major League Baseball playoffs. But just move the start date back by a month, shorten that season. Instead of starting it on March 20th, start it on April 20th.
See, I'll go opposite with you, rather. I will go, let's bring it a little closer to the start of March, start it earlier, and then let's finish earlier so that they actually get their flowers and people in the South actually watch baseball World Series instead of college football. Because let's be honest, if the World Series is on at the same time as Texas versus Georgia, I'm sorry, but I'm not watching the World Series unless the Braves are in it. So I say move it up a little bit.
You want to finish it around the end of September.
I think end of September.
I'm
very
noticing
early.
You just want everything to get out of the way of college football, don't you? Yeah, basically.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Quit trying to reinvent the wheel.
Pretty much.
The NBA is the world's worst at that, right? I know that's next on the list.
Yes, it is next on the list.
Needs to move back. It's too long of a season. You get a lot of meaningless games. This load management crap. I mean, you really kind of kill off the argument of load management when you reduce the load, the number of games that they have to play. You don't give them the opportunity to take nights off. So I'm with you there on moving back the start of the NBA season. That said, Cole, it could even go a little bit longer, right? Like we could be ending the NBA playoffs right about now or in early July. I'm
Sure.
totally down with that.
College basketball. I know this is not going to be the what we're supposed to do here. November Diesel ends in April. Maybe you wait till the end of November, beginning of December to start it to let all the football kind of get out of the way. Maybe, but I don't have a huge issue with the college basketball season.
No, I think college has kind of figured out the perfect timing for a lot of its sports.
Sure.
And I've always been I've always gravitated more towards college sports than pro sports anyway.
Mhm.
But you're telling me that there's something wrong with the college baseball season schedule? No, not really, other than it starts a little too soon.
Starts early,
It
February,
starts
man.
really early, and that's really tough, and it puts a lot of those northern teams.
Yeah.
We've
Washington's.
seen it, the Michigans, the Ohio States, the Minnesotas. It puts those Big Ten teams at a real disadvantage. Those who come out of cold weather territory, not only because they can't train the way that they want to because it's too cold to get outside and train, but also because they have to start a majority of their season. The first month and a half of their season is played on the road.
It is.
Because it's just too cold to play in their home stadiums, and that puts them at a disadvantage.
I like the ending. I like the ending of it where it is for college baseball. Last week or Monday, June 20th or something like that for the ending. I don't have an issue with that. I do agree with you though that Southern schools are always going to be better at baseball because of where they are, right?
Sure.
It's a, I guess you say it's an unfair disadvantage, but I mean, what do you do? I mean, you
move
can't.
the season back. You move the season back by a month.
So you have it ending in July?
Yeah.
Wow.
They'd still be playing the College World Series. They'd be playing the Supers right now.
Be hot.
It would be.
97.
It would be. But I don't love anything that, by its very nature, kind of puts half of the sport at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I get it, and it really does suck. But I guess if you're a baseball recruit, don't go play up north.
but that's kind of my point there, right? I mean,
yeah.
You see these teams like Tennessee and Texas, all the SEC teams that made the College World Series and made it into just the regional round. They all were running this like mid 30s, 40 something wins over the regular season, and they certainly have the advantage because they play a huge chunk of their out of conference schedules at home in their home parks, and that home field advantage really, really matters.
All right, one more. NASCAR. It starts in February, ends in November. I know, Diesel, you said before you think it's a little too long, right?
It's way too long, but I mean, it can't be too long if you never stop running NASCAR, right? Like, why not fill in? Why not fill in December and January with some races and just never stop this thing? Because
no off-season.
The point structure doesn't make any sense. Stopping to do stages here and there doesn't make any sense. I mean, why not just go full silly with it and race every single weekend the entire year round?
So I'll tell you this. I don't have an issue with it. I have no change for me. I have no issue with it. February, November, you know what? It gives you something consistent that's going to be on. You know it. You kind of expect it to be there. Again, sadly, it's one of the grass-cutting sports that we talked about earlier, right? You don't sit, at least I don't sit on the couch and watch every lap. I do watch the end of most races this year. I've watched the end of most of them. However, it's just not a sport that you sit down and watch the entire race wire to wire, start to finish.
Got a lot of Tolos here texting into the show. Texter says, guys, whenever football starts, the world feels right.
Amen, brother.
Amen to you. Texter says, Sunday should be for church only.
Sure.
When's the NFL going to play? Huh? When are the cup races going to play?
I just realized, Diesel,
when are we going to get in the last round of golf tournaments?
I just realized my Wi-Fi is not working because I had no text on my thing. I'm on my screen. I'm thinking, man, nobody's texting in, but I got an internet issue, I guess.
Texter says, expand college football into February. Expanding college football.
I don't hate that.
These guys are becoming, employees of the universities anyway. No, Cole, I am not for expanding the college football season. I'm not for stretching it out any longer. I mean,
just move
yes,
it.
There's that argument of more of a good thing is a good thing. Well, sometimes less of a good thing makes you appreciate it more.
Yeah.
And I am more in that camp. So I'm good with shrinking. I'm going to be real with you, Cole. I think it's time to eliminate the conference championship games. That would be where if I could contract the college football season right there, conference championship games is how I would do it. I would have the entire body of work be what puts a team into the college football playoff, not the results of a one-off game
Texter
at the end of the season.
Texter from the 470, I don't want to expand it into February. I just push it back about a month. So that's my solution.
Texter says, played in snow games. It was one of the best games ever. Had like 6 inches of falling snow.
That'd be fun,
It was
man.
so much fun. As a fan, I went to a lot of games in the snow, and it was a blast. It really was. It was a blast as a fan. But, when you've got as much money on the line as the NFL does, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if the NFL said we've got to protect our players and not so much take them out of the cold, because that's not really what they're protecting them from. It's more of the extremely icy games.
I love it.
Where you have the opportunity to injure yourselves. Okay. Texter says, go to Atlanta Motor Speedway, sit there at 95-degree weather and watch 312 laps with no cautions. Then you'll be a fan of the stage breaks. Texter, it's like you forget that's what NASCAR was before the stage breaks. Fans showed up in droves. They sold these places out. They didn't need no stage breaks, you mamby-pambies. What do you need? A water break? You want somebody to come out and give you some milk so you can cool off between stages? No, it's friggin' NASCAR. Sit outside in the heat and deal with it.
The only pushback that I've received from friends of mine on the stages are the restarts provide the best racing. And when somebody has a 3-second lead and they have a 3-second lead for the majority of the race, it's no fun to watch.
Yeah, but you've worked your ass off to build a 3-second lead, and then NASCAR says, yep, we're just going to take that away from you.
Well, I mean, I get it. And, the All-Star race, they used to flip remember they used to flip.
Yeah, but that's not a points race. That's not a point. That is an exhibition. That's not a points race. So I don't like taking something that somebody built on their own and then just taking it away to make it more interesting for the fans who are watching.
Yeah, I see both sides. I get it. I see both sides. Hurricane Jeff says, for college baseball, I would start closer to the end of February, and when it comes to the finals, instead of Omaha, let's see what the rest of the text said there from Hurricane Jeff. Pick some sites similar to college football, bowl games, perhaps do professional stadiums with the finals being in Omaha.
That's interesting. Hey, when we come back, Cole, let's talk about blowouts.
Oh man,
not your daughter who is still in diapers and blew one out. I'm talking about big time wins. How do we define a blowout, and why is it different in my mind? What constitutes a blowout at different levels of football? We'll talk about that next, right here on 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg, and everywhere you are on the free Odyssey app. 20, we will have a replay of our conversation from earlier in the show, a guest that Cole brought on that I know that you've had on this station several times before in the past, a fantastic football mind. We had on Ramon Robinson, founder of Elite Quarterback Academy in Greenville. He has worked with some of the biggest names in college football who have come through the upstate: Lenora Sellers, Grayson Loftus, Trent Pierman, Kelly Bryant, Chad Kelly, Deshaun Watson, several more. You're going to be fascinated to hear that conversation that we had with him earlier. Going to bring that back to you at around 6:15. But Cole, with the last couple of minutes in this hour, I want to talk about something that it's like a sliding scale in football, right?
I need one of those.
When we what?
A sliding scale that goes down in weight when I get on it.
Yeah. Why is it, and what is it? Let's see if we can define in this segment, Cole, what is a blowout at each level of football?
Because you're telling me they're different?
I do think the answer is different, right? Like, think about this. A 14-point win in college football feels different from a 14-point win in the NFL, right?
Sure.
In the NFL, we see a lot more low-scoring, tighter football games. And in high school football, we see these huge disparities in the amount of talent on a team.
Yeah.
The people who are watching on the stream are watching me swipe at a bug that's just flying around my head over here. But, you know, there can be a huge disparity in talent at the high school level, and sometimes all it takes is an elite quarterback-wide receiver combo or an elite running back, and all of a sudden, boom, you got a team that's scoring 50, 60, 70 points in a game. So I want to look at this level by level, Cole, and see if we can come to an agreement on what a blowout is, because I think fans use that term a lot, but it's just sort of a general term, right? Like a feeling about a game that really wasn't all that close to begin with. And I want you, Tolos, to jump in the text line, 71307. Start your text with keyword fan or comment on the stream on Facebook, on Twitter, or on YouTube. What would you say point differential, point spread-wise, is a blowout at each level of football? I'm going to make my argument. Cole's going to make his. Maybe we agree, maybe we don't. But let's start with the pro level.
I don't think we're going to agree.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Let's start with the pro level, Cole. So I think anything 17 points or more is a flat blowout. That is a non-competitive game in the NFL. And I've got some numbers here to back up my point, okay? In 2023, the average margin of victory in the NFL was 12.1 points.
Pretty close.
In 2022, it was just 9.3
Wow.
points. So that right there is, I looked that up after I put down my number for what I thought a blowout was, which again, I think 17 points or more, that's a blowout in the NFL. But there you go. 12 points, average margin of victory last year.
So I think 24 points or more is considered a blowout. Reason I say that is you could have a 10-point game in the fourth quarter with a team driving to make it a 3-point game. That team throws a pick six, bam, 17-point game, right? All of a sudden, a couple of plays happen. 24 is a good – anywhere between –
I think situation certainly matters.
Situation does matter. 21 to 24 for me is a blowout because, you know, you can't say low numbers like 14 to 17 in my opinion, because it's just way too close in terms of – I've seen a lot of games, you know, where the score was a lot bigger than the game actually felt, right? So I'm going to say 24 or more is a blowout. However, to spoil your thesis here, mine's 24 or blowout for
at
across
all
the
levels?
board. Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I go to college, Cole. See, I didn't want to make it that simple on myself. I wanted to make sure I picked a different number at each level.
Sure.
For college, I say 24 points and up. That's what constitutes a blowout, because you can see a team win by 3 touchdowns and still somehow feel like it's a competitive game. So I looked up what it was the average margin of victory for the national champions each year over the course of their season.
Okay.
2022, Georgia, average victory, 27 points. 21, Georgia, 28 points. 2020, Alabama, 29 points. 2019, LSU, 26 points. 2018, Clemson, 31-point average margin of victory in those championship seasons. So I feel comfortable right there, Cole, setting mine just a little bit below what the national champions were doing in those seasons.
I hear you.
Do you want to adjust because of that? Or are
No,
you still,
no, I'm
are
going
you
to
still
stand.
there?
No, I hear you. I'm standing firm though.
Okay.
Talent level aside, I'm going 24 or more.
Okay, so then when I watch a lot of when I watch the Friday night recap shows and when I listen to your show on Saturday mornings called the Saturday Scramble, and I think high school football, like I was saying earlier, there's a huge disparity in your talent level from team to team. All it takes is one or two really special players on a team, and they can bust a game wide open. I'd say a blowout in high school, Cole. That margin has to go up for me, and I'm looking at 28 points. When you regularly see teams putting up 70 burgers on a Friday night recap shows, it's hard to say that a 3-touchdown game wasn't close. But you get up to 4 touchdown games, that's when you get a blowout territory for me.
I hear you. I just really, I'm putting the excuses aside. I'm saying high school, college, or pro, 24 or more. If it's any less, it's maybe on the verge of a blowout, but not quite.
Tolos, what do you think? What's a blowout at each level of football? Is it the same for you at each level, or do you put a little nuance on it?
All right,
tell us.
Coming up in the very next segment, Hard Knocks Diesel is with the New York Giants right now during the offseason. They're going to have a Hard Knocks come out here shortly with the New York Giants. They put out a trailer earlier. We have audio of that trailer. Look, I love Hard Knocks, right? Hard Knocks is a great show. The question is, though, what college program would you have liked to seen Hard Knocks episodes of back in the day? You answer. Tolo's answer next. It is Wire to Wire, the newer, I can't say newest, but newer afternoon drive show on your radio dial as we kick off the final hour of the program. He's Diesel, I'm Cole Bryson. This is the Fan Upstate. So glad to be with you on this Wednesday edition as we are live at Ingles. I'll give you the address in 1 second. When I pull it up, it is 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. 10903 Anderson Road. If you're nearby, you have one more hour to swing in, and you can win a $25 Ingles gift card. I'll give you clue number 4. I've already given you the first 3. The first one was, if you ate just one of these, it would be very tiny. Clue number 2, the origin of this product is tall and named after a star. Clue number 3, they are available plain, salted, or shelled. I gave you that clue a moment ago. And then clue number 4, this item is a sunny-flower child. If that doesn't give it away, I do not know what to tell you. So, again, if you're in the area, come by, stop in, enter for your chance to win a $25 Ingles gift card. We will be here until 7. So, Diesel, Hard Knocks, they're going to be with the Chicago Bears this preseason. They were with the New York Giants earlier during the offseason. I love Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks goes into, it gives us fans a viewpoint that we don't normally get from an NFL team. But I was looking at some Hard Knocks information earlier today, and I asked myself the question, and I want to ask you, if you could have had a Hard Knocks episode in college football of it doesn't have to be a superior or a national championship program, but if you could pick a college football program to have seen on Hard Knocks in the past, whether it's the Miami Hurricanes of the 80s and the 90s, right? The Florida Gators with Urban Meyer in the early 2000s. Maybe it's current. Maybe it's present day. Maybe it's the Colorado, prime saga in Colorado. Maybe that's who you'd like to see on Hard Knocks. But I asked the question to you, Diesel, as well as our Tolo, 71307. Start your text with the word fan. We're also live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can chime in there as well. What do you think the best Hard Knocks episode, college edition, would have been? And tell me why it's the Miami Hurricanes. I mean, can you say any one episode would have been better than that?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking not just one Coach Prime. You're talking a bunch of primes running around all over that screen. That would be a really fascinating one. Of course, just for the sheer number of personalities that were running around that program in the 80s and the 90s. You could certainly say the same thing about Florida State in the 90s. That would be a really fascinating Hard Knocks to watch.
It would be really good. Bowden, is that what you mean? Kind of Bobby Bowden era?
Yeah, when Florida State was on their run, that would be really interesting to watch. But Cole, I'm going to go a little unconventional here on you.
Okay.
And instead of just making this a spectacle, because, I mean, we got Last Chance U, that was a spectacle. I would want to know, I would want to go deep into North Dakota State and how a program at a small school like that,
I love that
was
answer,
able to continue and still is as dominant as they have been. I mean, they rattled off how many national championships in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and they're still doing it.
Sure.
I mean, they are just elite in a place like Fargo, where you got to bring your own blowtorch to get into your car every single day to melt the ice off of the hinges.
True, yeah.
To be able to get in. How does a program like that do it at that level year in and year out?
Maybe they were way ahead of the NIL game. It was just too cold to go investigate.
How much would you have to get paid to go play in Fargo?
Well, I mean, show me the money, right?
Right.
Texter from the 371 says, this is fat paid, by the way. Oh, there's only one acceptable answer here. That Tebow Florida team, and I need a mic on Hernandez at all times.
Oh, okay.
Oh, boy. I don't know if you want that, do you?
There was that Florida Gator documentary that came out, a year ago or something.
One of
like
the best documentaries I've ever watched.
What was
Florida.
it called?
I can't remember off the top of my head. It's on Netflix, right?
Swamp Kings.
Yes.
Swamp Kings. Yeah, that was a
incredible
really fascinating
documentary.
one.
That's what I mean, though. More.
You wish you could
more
see this live and in
documentaries.
person,
Yeah,
right?
more documentaries like that would go in. I mean, you talk about the Miami Hurricanes documentary. If that was a Hard Knocks, I don't know that it could be on TV. Right? Like, could they show the things that really happened?
How do you have a show if you've got to censor literally every moment?
Every word. Texter from the 470 says Hard Knocks is a cursed show. Almost every single team that's been on it has had bad seasons. It doesn't seem like they, for whatever reason, do good teams, do they?
You're also on it because you sucked the year before.
Right.
You were a bereft team the year before. So are you shocked that the worst team in the league suddenly isn't the best team in the league after being on Hard Knocks?
How about the Vince Young era at Texas? You know,
That
maybe that would be fascinating. Or
the
even
Pete Carroll era at Southern Cal.
Well, that's where I was going. Reggie Bush, right?
Yeah.
We talked about a couple of months ago the Heisman Trophy, getting Reggie Bush getting the Heisman back. How about that entire saga having a Hard Knocks episode of Reggie Bush and what happened at USC? Madcraft, what did he say?
Madcraft says they only let champions in the building at Miami. Ain't got time for your silly cameras.
Let champions in past tense, right? Past tense there, Madcraft.
Yeah. T Swizzle says, how about South Carolina during the Garcia years?
Been fascinating.
Would have been
absolutely fascinating. I would have loved and Spurrier. Can you imagine Steve Spurrier on Hard Knocks? Like, that would be must-see TV, right?
Here's a really good one. I like this one from Madcraft. He says Penn State the year after Sandusky.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that.
Watching a program like that try to recover and just be reeling from what they had just gone through, that would have been really fascinating as well.
That would have been.
It'd be kind of like, I would imagine it'd be kind of like watching the movie We Are Marshall and because there's no documentaries from that era of Marshall. That would be a really fascinating one as well.
What about
really painful to watch a program like that try to pick up the pieces?
What about Jameis at Notre Dame? I mean, at Florida State. Jameis Winston's era at Florida State. I think that would be highly entertaining in terms of having Hard Knocks cover that run, because it was one of the best runs ever. I mean, it was fascinating. My craziest memory, Diesel, ever of Jameis's run was him coming into Death Valley. It was a college game day. I got there with some buddies at like 5 a.m., right? And it was a night game. We were there from like 5 a.m. until midnight. And it was the time where Clemson was kind of hanging their hat on the loudest stadium. They had the decibel meter, and they were really good. Clemson was really good. Jameis Winston comes in, Diesel, and just absolutely runs shop. And by halftime that night, that game, it was mostly Florida State fans as Jameis Winston just lit Clemson's defense up. That would have been fascinating to see Hard Knocks with him.
Hard Knocks always follows one program or one team for a year. What if you could follow one player for a couple of seasons and really be watching what was going on with Randy Moss?
Just one player.
In his time at Notre Dame, and then at Florida State, and then at Marshall.
Been fascinating.
And being in jail.
Can Hard Knocks go into penitentiaries?
I mean, if they made a big enough donation to the county law enforcement department, I'm sure they would let them.
Brandon asked, how about 2007's Hawaii team with Colt Brennan? No really interest for me for Hawaii. Again, not cracking on Hawaii.
We just get some shots of some beautiful beach locations.
Yeah,
and,
that'd be good enough for me.
Bronzed tan women.
Nothing there really moves the meter for me. So, I've never, even if they were good, I don't know that I've ever considered myself watching it. But it's fascinating to think about because they've only gone pro. Hard Knocks has been pro. And I do think that there is, Diesel, before we hit a break, I think there are plans for Hard Knocks to come into the college game. The NIL and players being played, I would imagine, had something to do with Hard Knocks not being allowed to film and pay college. I don't know how that works. I don't know in the NFL who receives revenue from that. or if it's if it's even a situation where a team receives. I don't know. It's a great, it'd be a fascinating thing to look at. But I have seen that they are looking at coming into college. T Swizzle says, or ask rather on the stream, have y'all ever seen the Money Manziel documentary? Yes, have you seen that, Diesel?
I have.
Very, very good documentary with Johnny Manziel, but the Swamp Kings at Florida, that one's my
So we
favorite.
get a Hard Knocks about SMU right after they went into the death
Oh,
penalty.
that's a good one. Good one.
Or any season immediately after they brought that program back.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Death penalty, Hard Knocks at SMU. That'd be good. Wow,
Yeah.
that might be at the top of the list.
I think it might be the coach sitting there just using one of those old-fashioned little paddleboard games. You know, the one that's it's got a little bungee cord and a rubber ball on it, just sitting there, whap, 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 for 2 years, waiting to bring that program back.
All right, we had a fantastic conversation in hour number 2 of the program. We're going to have that for you next. In case you missed it, we talked to Ramon Robinson. He is a Greenville guy right here in the upstate, founder of Elite Quarterback Academy, good friend of mine, friend of the station. Love catching up with him, and we caught up with him for a lengthy interview that's fascinating. It will not bore you. If you like football, if you like high school football, college football, this interview will be right up your alley. He is Ramon Robinson next right here on the Fan Upstate.
Dust on your fingers and say, I can do that. You're listening to The Right Show.
You're going wire to wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
What's up to Tolo's Sly Guy, who stopped in, spent a couple minutes hanging out. I mean, he left out of here with a haul.
Heck
I'm
yeah.
telling you, we set you up. You come by and see one of our live shows at an Ingles Market, you're going to walk away with a hat, a T-shirt. I mean, heck, we had an autographed Carolina Panthers mini helmet to give away. I mean, he got set up.
That's what happens when you come out and see us here at Ingles.
That's true.
Come on now.
We're going to be back out in 2 weeks. Give us a second. We'll find out what that store address is coming up here in 2 weeks' time, Cole. But before we get to the end of show number 66 here on the Fan Upstate, it's time to take you around the sports world with our Daily Wires. They don't call them the best in the business for nothing.
By the way, it's the Ingles Markets on 429 East Main Street in Liberty 2 weeks from today.
There you go. 429 East Main Street in Liberty. The Atlanta Braves play an early game today, trying to get you a score on that game. That one first
6-2.
6-2.
Thanks, Brandon.
Was that a final?
Yep.
6-2 final in the first game. They will play a second game this
7:15.
7:15 first pitch on that game. The Phillies lost yesterday to the Tigers, so the Braves have now pulled to within 7.5 games back. Yesterday, South Carolina picked up a commitment from quarterback Cutter Woods out of Westside High School, and also lost the commitment of a 4-star quarterback, London Duckworth, who's coming out of Alabama, who had been committed to the South Carolina Gamecocks since August 2023. I wasn't trying to put Cutter Woods on the spot yesterday when I asked him the question, what does commitment mean to you? But, he told us something that I think is a sentiment that's going to be echoed by a lot of high-level recruits right now, Cole, is he said this is a business decision, and the business decision lasts as long as it is a good business decision for me. Clemson outfielder Nathan Hall has committed to rival South Carolina. He played in just 12 games with 22 at-bats and a .227 average for the Tigers this past year. It sucks to lose a transfer to your rival, but he didn't play an awful lot for the Tigers, so it doesn't hurt quite so bad. The NBA draft begins tonight. The Atlanta Hawks have the number 1 overall pick. The Charlotte Hornets have 2 picks this evening. I know they've got the number 6 pick. Don't know what the second pick is, but we'll know tomorrow and have a little more information on how much better the Charlotte Hornets got in the NBA draft. The Brooklyn Nets made a huge deal yesterday, Cole, sending Mikal Bridges to the Knicks.
Yeah.
We had some fantastic audio yesterday from former Texas A&M coach Jim Schlossnagle, who had just taken his team to the College World Series and lost to Tennessee in 3 games. He undressed a reporter, basically gave him the who do you think you are, how dare you talk, when he asked him about this job that he was potentially going to take. And he then issued an apology saying, maybe I was a little bit out of line for jumping down that reporter's throat the way that he did. This is not the first time Jim Schlossnagle has done this, by the way. He was at TCU, told a reporter that he was absolutely not interested in the Texas A&M job, and then what? Goes to Texas A&M, and then he tells the reporter, I'm definitely not interested in any other jobs, and then what? Goes to Texas.
Imagine that.
So I'm noticing a bit of a pattern here. And you had a fantastic drop yesterday, Cole, saying if you're a Texas fan and you hear that guy doing that to a team, you're saying to yourself, I absolutely don't want this guy coaching at my school.
Yeah. No, it's a bad look. At least he did issue the apology. It helps a little bit, but still, him just calling the reporter out like that, kind of bush league in my opinion.
Claiming he was in an emotional state and yada, yada, yada. Cole, you have that audio that you were looking for earlier.
Yeah, so I wanted to get to this audio to end the show. John Smoltz, who we all know and love, said this when being asked about Tommy John and what the MLB should do to fix the ongoing issues and cases of elbow injuries in the MLB, and I find this fascinating. Here's what John Smoltz had to say.
How do we go about over the next 2,
5, 10 years changing this problem that we have in Major League Baseball of pitchers getting hurt and needing Tommy John?
I think baseball has to look at everything they're looking at. They're looking at the data. They're looking at the how. And the only way to fix it right now is to come up with a rule change, either be it rosters, limit pitchers. No one's listening to doctors. No one's listening to the data. No one's listening to anything because we live in a world where you chase the rewards that you're being given. How did we get so smart, so strong, but increase the rate of injuries at a level that's unsustainable? We become addicted to the outcome of statistical categories that define us. If a pitcher today has 3.5 strikeouts per 9 innings, do you think he's going to pitch very long?
No.
There's no way. So if you don't have a 12.5 or 13.5 strikeout per 9 innings, you're in a bad category. So if we learn how to deal with a 3-point-something ERA and we learn how to dial back the things that we're used to, then you have a chance for change.
I like that. I like that a lot.
He's not wrong. I mean, this is something we have learned in high school baseball, little league baseball, high school baseball. Why are we not applying those same principles to Major League Baseball? You are putting way too much stress and strain on these pitchers. You're focusing on statistical categories more than wins and losses.
Well,
these pitchers are chasing that. But pitching is insanely good right now.
We've put so much emphasis on velocity, and we've put so much emphasis on ERA in Major League Baseball. Not just Major League Baseball, but in baseball in general. And that's kind of what he's talking about. And I agree. I mean, like, if that's what we're going to focus on, you can't say, well, we're not going to have injuries. It's going to be a part of it. So we've got to understand as pitchers and baseball coaches, those things aren't as important as your best pitchers not having these injuries.
And hey, having ERAs up there in the 3s, 4s, and 5s isn't necessarily a bad thing. More runs are going to be scored, and you're going to have a more enticing and entertaining brand of baseball when you have pitchers throwing 3, 4, 5 ERAs. What do we see in the College World Series, Cole? We saw the 2 best pitchers for Texas A&M and Tennessee going at each other. One had like a 3.5, and the other one had a 5 ERA. But it was still just as fascinating and compelling. I'm going to be real. Pitching duels are boring. They're boring. I don't want to watch 2 guys go out there and gas up an entire lineup for 7, 8 innings. And then all of a sudden the relievers come in and they finally start scoring runs. That's why I call baseball a cut the grass sport.
Let's see if the Braves can get it done twice today. 7:15, as we said a moment ago. They did play a doubleheader today against the Cardinals, or will play a doubleheader. They did win the first game 6-2 earlier in the day, as Reynaldo Lopez was terrific. Bryce Elder on the mound tonight for Atlanta. Let's see. I'm trying to pull up game 1 of the day, Diesel, and see what happened. Oh, Braves put up a 4 spot in the second inning. Some guys like Jared Kelenic, put on the clinic, right? Zach Short was fantastic today. And, man, did Kelenic have 2 home runs? No, he had 1 home run and then singled in the second to bring home 2 runs. Listen, ever since he's been at the top of the lineup, this lineup's been a lot different, and their record shows that. So if they can continue to hit the ball, we'll see.
Probable pitchers here for the second matchup: Bryce Elder for Atlanta, and then Liberator for St. Louis. Both of those guys, as we were talking about there with Smoltz, have a +4 ERA. To continue on with our daily wires here, the city of Jacksonville, the city council just voted 14-1 to approve a $1.4 billion renovation package for Everbank Stadium. Compare that, Cole, to the $1.5 billion the president of France committed to cleaning up the Seine River, and the Parisians and people of France protested. Yet nobody in Jacksonville is protesting. Why? Because it's football.
They got their money. They're about to go big or go home. Speaking of go big or go home, NBA draft tonight. We'll have our reaction tomorrow. The Atlanta Hawks pick first. And as Diesel said a moment ago, the Charlotte Hornets are 6th. You'll hear our reaction live tomorrow. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. This is Wire to Wire on the Fan Upstate.